Once again, ladies and gentlemen, hello. We are live once again, continuing the tier list that we started yesterday, but I was way too tired and the original stream took way too much longer than anticipated. There were 7 tier lists, and I figured we would get through all of them at a max of maybe 4 to 5 hours. We went, I think, almost 6 hours. I think, I don't even remember how long the stream was yesterday. I think it was close to 6 or 5 hours. I definitely know it topped 5. How long was it yesterday? How long was the stream? Yeah, we just topped 5 hours yesterday. And we had only gotten through 4 tier lists. So, I was having a lot of fun yesterday, though, with chat, with just making the tier list, putting something out there that I've been wanting to do for the longest time. I've been wanting to make tier lists on YouTube for the longest time. I just never had the equipment, never really knew how to do it. I figured the best way to do it was live. And even then, it ended up taking 5 hours to get through 4 tier lists. And the last 3 we have remaining are 3 of the biggest tier lists. So, and I know this is a little last minute stream, but we're going to get through those tier lists with or without viewers during this stream. Because we need to. And we're picking up and starting over on the tier list I tried to get through last night, but it just didn't happen because I was just so mentally worn out. And I'm not gonna lie though, last night I got about 9 hours of sleep and it felt really good. So I'm not even like hanging myself for ending the stream a little bit early yesterday. So we'll wait a few more minutes for see if some people tune in. If not, that's alright. But yeah. We'll go ahead and alert the glitcher game. Alright. So, which this is kind of a good thing. Maybe some people aren't quite here yet because I think maybe that's what was taking the stream so long. I kept looking at chat, having conversations with chat, and I plan on getting this done before the Super Bowl. So this won't be a very long stream, even though these next 3 tier lists, these final 3 tier lists are the final tier list for this tier list stream. And then we would have ranked everything revolved around 2021, man. So, I'll wait until the stream hits about 5 minutes and then we'll get started. For anyone who's in here, let me know who you think's going to win this, who you're rooting for the Super Bowl today. Let me know. Let me know how well you think that Super Bowl performance is going to be. Let's go ahead and switch over. Alright, we'll go ahead and get started. So yesterday we started this tier list. Towards the end of the stream, we maybe got through to these first 10 or so albums, I say. I don't remember how far we got through, but we're just gonna go ahead and redo the tier list now that I've had a full day, or like at least 9 hours worth of rest, and I could completely talk about my thoughts more thoroughly than what I did yesterday when we were attempting this. So, first album first, we got J. Cole's 2014 Forest Hills Drive, released literally the final month of 2014. I started listening to this album at the end of 2021, like literally December. I started listening to this album November, I'd say. Wasn't really the biggest fan of this at first. I was kind of thinking to myself, this project really is overrated. I don't know why so many people consider this J. Cole's best project. And then I finally, like before Christmas, I'd say, it finally had dawned on me why so many people say that about this album, why this album is regarded as Cole's best project to date. And it's just a whole vibe, man. Like, I think this is the true origin story of J. Cole. Because J. Cole, for some reason, was, I think, heavily controlled by the industry, the record label he was signed under before this album. And we're going to talk about that issue when it comes to Born Sinner and Cold World later on. But for me, 2014 Forest Hills Drive has seriously grown on me. There's not a lot of, like, singles I like by themselves, but as a whole album is the most cohesive project that I think I've heard from J. Cole yet. So for that, I think I'm going to put 2014 Forest Hills Drive at an A tier. Next, we got Tupac's debut album, Tupacalypse Now, I believe released in 91. I believe it was 91 that this album was released. It's definitely the most outdated record, production-wise, and I guess, like, topic-wise, for Tupac, considering, like, some of the hit records that he made down the line, Me Against the World, All Eyes on Me, his greatest hits album. But Tupacalypse is actually not a bad album, in my opinion. I do like some of the singles off of it. Brenda's Got a Baby, such an iconic track just in hip-hop history in general. For that alone, I actually don't think there's terrible tracks on this album, but there are definitely some tracks, like I said, that feel very outdated or just haven't really aged well. You know what I mean? So for Tupacalypse Now, I think I'll put it at a B tier. Because like I said, I don't hate this album, I don't love it, but it definitely, to me, I can ignore the outdated type of topics, sound of the record, and just appreciate it for it being like a pretty okay album from a guy who just started off rapping in the early 90s. You know what I mean? So, okay, these three albums I want to treat the same way like I did at the end of the stream yesterday. These three Joyner Lucas albums, mixtapes. Starting off with Along Came Joyner. I thought this was, first listening to this album, maybe 2018 I'd say, I thought this was going to be like an interesting conceptual album about how Joyner is kind of like a rare species coming to planet Earth and just bringing back a skill of lyricism. But he does it in such a boring way that this album is not fun to listen to. Like, there are definitely some legendary tracks from Joyner's discography in there. One of those being Ross Cappuccino. I personally like Mansion. That's okay. Obviously, it's a track. It's a very interesting topic or conceptual track. But this album is not fun to listen to. And I'll say that this album, these mixtapes, I say I enjoy more than ADHD, and I'll talk about that when we get to ADHD. For Along Came Joyner, though, I rarely revisit it. The only time I'll listen to these three albums is if I want to listen to Joyner projects, and then follow that up with Evolution, because I just love. I'll talk about Evolution more, but Along Came Joyner is a C tier for me, man. It's one that I very rarely listen back to, and then I really just care for the songs that I like off of it. Now, 508, 507, 2209. His sequel, his following mixtape that I believe released in 2017, 2018, not quite sure. The thing about this is, while I do love I'm Sorry and the meaning behind it, I don't understand why this mixtape is named after that singular track. Like, I get that the number is Joyner uses the number as his own throughout the entire mixtape, but it doesn't have anything to do with it. The whole album is not a suicidal prevention album, so I don't get why he named it after the mixtape. And to add to that, I think some of the tracks or some of the hit singles on this album are a little overrated. The only tracks I can remember from 508 is I'm Sorry and Lovely. And I think literally those are the only two songs I have added. The rest of the tracks don't really tie within each other. And I don't know, man. And then Keep It 100. Keep It 100 is definitely an iconic track. I'll say that. But other than that, I really don't understand why Joyner named this mixtape after the Suicidal Hotline track, just for it to lead up to I'm Sorry, which is one of the very last tracks on the mixtape. It's a better, I say, production-wise, it's not for Joyner. He's definitely, for some reason, I think took a step back on this one. But I would definitely say this is still better than ADHD. I don't know how I feel about it being better than alongside Joyner, along came Joyner. But I'll put 508 at C tier too, because I don't know. That's another one I rarely visit, but I think if I were to choose either of these, I think I might pick Along Came Joyner. I don't know. I'd have to give both of them a re-listen. I rarely revisited them after hearing them these past few years. ADHD, let me say this. My opinion about album has never changed so significantly until I went back to visit ADHD after my album review. I dropped an album review to ADHD, I'd say sometime 2020 when I was first starting off reaction/album reviews, and I gave it a 7 out of 10. ADHD is not even worth a 5 out of 10, to be honest. Like, it's bad. It took 2 years for this album to come out. 10 singles from this album were released before the album came out itself. And then the other 8 songs that were on this album that we hadn't heard weren't anything special either. Like, essentially the 8 tracks that were on the album that we haven't heard yet were the worst parts of the album. I don't know. I was so glad when Joyner was dropping Evolution, he just dropped maybe 2 singles at the time. He didn't stick with a single by single release like for the album or the mixtape. I don't visit ADHD very often ever again. I hate how like Joyner was trying to sound very, very mainstream on this album, and I hate ADHD. I hate it with a passion. I really do. What's up, Poe? How you doing, man? Appreciate you stopping by. Next, we got Tupac's iconic classic, All Eyes on Me. It's been a while since I've heard this album, but I've listened to it at least like 10 times, I'd say. It is a long listen to. It's a long album to sit down and listen to in one sitting. I did notice though, as I kept going back to it, that there were some tracks that definitely could have been cut or just sound literally copy and paste for each other, whether it be what Tupac was saying, some of the features, production wise. But All Eyes on Me definitely has more than handfuls of hits. Freaking Me Against, or All Eyes on Me, 2 of America's Most Wanted, Ambitions as a Rider. There are so many just cult classic hit singles on this album. And like I said, I didn't really listen to too much last year, but when I first started listening to this album, maybe 2019, 2020, I was definitely bumping it for a minute. But I have come to accept that All Eyes on Me is not Tupac's best project. A lot of people say All Eyes on Me is Tupac's best project. I just gotta say, it's not. But I still respect it. It is highly regarded as a classic. So I think I'm gonna put All Eyes on Me at an A tier alongside 2014 Forest Hills Drive. That's dope, man. That's dope. Appreciate you stopping by, though, Poe. Dude, I actually thought I was gonna lose my voice from streaming as long as I did yesterday. It just wore me out, to be honest. Next, we got Ice Cube's America's Most Wanted, his first debut shortly after leaving NWA sometime in the 90s. Ice Cube dropped this album, and honestly, it's still a classic. It does not sound outdated at all. There's some interesting tracks throughout this album, and it just really shows that Ice Cube was one of the best parts of NWA, and that he could really stand his own ground, like, without them. You know what I mean? There are a lot of fun tracks. I don't know how long this album is, but I'm pretty sure I have over 50% of this album added to my Ice Cube playlist. And I recently just went back to hear America's Most Wanted. It's a great classic. I'm gonna put this one at an S tier. I don't think anyone else on here is gonna have a debut album, a hit as well. Maybe one other person might have a debut album that will be alongside Ice Cube for an S tier. I wanted to stop in for a bit before I go work on a commission I got for an overlay. I'll be here for a bit. Oh, appreciate it, Poe. I appreciate you stopping by. Dang, that's tough. You gotta work on Super Bowl Sunday. That's unfortunate, man. Can we get some rips in the chat, please? Next, we got The Best of Tupac, Part 1, Thug. This was the first record I bought because I saw the track list on the back and I was like, alright, I think I'll like this. And I think after listening to this compilation album, I realized I am not the biggest fan of compilation albums. Like, it's very... I just can't... It doesn't feel right just listening to the hits back to back like this. You know what I mean? And the compilation album isn't very long. There are some slight edits made throughout this album. There is a different remix and I believe a completely entirely new track on it. But this album made me personally realize that I am not the biggest fan of compilation albums, of just greatest hits albums. So I still, like I said, I own a vinyl copy of it. I really wish maybe I would have gave this album a listen before buying it. I still listen to this album, but for me, it won't be very high on the list. Compilation albums will never, I don't think, ever hit an S or an A tier for me, just because there's a reason why it was a hit, depending on the context of the story in the album they were placed on. You know what I mean? So, Tupac, Best of Tupac, Part 1, Thug. It's a B tier for me. Dang, you can't, man, that's tough. Yes, it's Super Bowl Sunday. Quite unfortunate you can't afford cable. At least you got YouTube, though. At least you got YouTube. I say get YouTube TV, because that's cable and YouTube in the same thing. So, if you want cable, then just get YouTube TV, to be honest. Now, me and Herman were debating about this one quite a little bit before the stream ended yesterday. Born Sinner by J. Cole. His sophomore album released under the whatever record label he used to be a part of. Everything that I disliked and hated about Cole World, the Sideline Story, which is this album right here, I think he doubled down on Born Sinner. Born Sinner is literally such a snooze fest. I don't get why some of the songs are so popular on there, or why some of the songs really are as streamed as they are. My favorite tracks are from this album are literally some of the least streamed tracks off the entire thing. Like, I don't like the sound that J. Cole used throughout this. Production-wise, the sound of this album was too polished in my opinion, and it's just nothing but love songs. Literally, J. Cole has a line where he mentions that this album was like nothing but loves, this album got him singing nothing but love songs. I hate this album. I absolutely hate it with a passion. I rarely visit this album back, and this was one album that made me realize how much the industry could control Cole before 2014 Forest Hills Drive. So, for me, Born Sinner is a D tier. And this is the deluxe version too. Let me add that. This is the deluxe version. Like, this has the additional 6 tracks that were as big as a letdown as the album itself, in my opinion. I'm about 500 in a hole every month on the bills. Disability doesn't pay enough to live. Damn. Damn, Poe. Feel bad for you, man. Dang, dude. Well, that's tough, man. To be honest, it's the Rams and someone else. I don't even know who's playing either. I'm just gonna watch it for the halftime performance. That makes sense. That makes sense why you need the commission. Next, we got Eminem's Current Call of the Hits. Like I said, this is another compilation album I listened to and made me realize that I don't like just listening to hit singles. First of all, this man, one of the greatest rappers ever, opens up one of the worst tracks that he's ever made. Ironically, on the Greatest Hits record. You know what I mean? So, and I know why he did it. He was doing it to troll his critics and everything. But why is Fact really a song? Like, come on. Come on, Ilm. Come on. I don't know, man. And like I said, just the vibe of these tracks going back and forth with each other from his albums, from the Slim Shady LP to Encore. It's really weird hearing how many tracks Encore really made. Like, Just Lose It. I absolutely hate Just Lose It. It's just very weird. It's a very weird just to hear all Slim Shady singles on this album. You know what I mean? So for me, I rarely visit Current Call, and for me, and even Shake That featuring Nate Dogg was not a very fun original song either. Out of all the original songs he put on there, including the Elton John performance, I only like the Stand version, the Elton John Stand version, and When I'm Gone. You know what I mean? So even half of the original tracks that were added to this compilation weren't anything special. So for me, Current Call is a C tier. I probably visit it as much as Along Came Joyner and 508, to be honest. Nah, I don't know if you know about the Super Bowl, but it's Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Eminem, Kendrick Lamar, and Mary J. Blige. That halftime performance is going to be fucking solid as hell. So, you would know if you had cable. No, I'm just playing. I'm just playing, Poe. I love you, man. I love you. Next, we got Dr. Dre's The Chronic. Iconic, classic production all the way through. Solid as can be. Doesn't even sound outdated for 90s. This is Dre after leaving NWA as well. Picked up, basically co-signed Snoop Dogg for the entire project. Made some serious classics. Nothing But a G Thing. Forget about, or fucking with Dre Day. Like, there's so much about this album that still holds up in today's generation. And to be honest, this is the only album with skits on it that I actually like the skits. There's not a single one of these other albums that has skits on here I think is necessary or I like. This is the only album where I like all the skits and think it actually adds impact to the, like, just Dre gangster vibe throughout this album. For me, this is another classic. Put him alongside Q for the S tier. It only feels right, man. Like, come on. These two NWA artists, their debut albums cannot be touched. They cannot be, like, they have to be at the S tier, in my opinion. They just have to be. You know, and like I said, fun story. I didn't listen, because Dre's Chronic wasn't available on Spotify until, like, 2019, 2020. So, I bought a vinyl version of The Chronic, and I still own this copy. It's actually back here in this box. My vinyl copy of Dre's Chronic. So for Christmas 2017, 2018, I got my vinyl version of The Chronic and that record player down there for Christmas. And I got that record player just to listen to The Chronic. And I rarely touched my record player for like a year or two. And then before we started moving into this house, I finally heard The Chronic for the first time. Such a great song. Such a great album. I absolutely love it. Man, let me know when the System of a Down or something like that. System of a Down won't ever probably be on the Super Bowl. No offense. They probably will never perform at the Super Bowl. So, let me see. Be right back. Gotta put. Hey, you might want to watch what you say on that one, Poe. That doesn't look. I might have to remove that one because that doesn't look too good. You should have just said chicken nuggets, not that. Oh no, don't get me banned, Poe. YouTube, I'm not responsible for this, man. But anyway, moving on, we got NF's Clouds mixtape, which released last year. I was bumping this album quite a bit after it released last year, and the singles off of it, Clouds, Lost featuring Hopspin and Story, I still really all enjoy. I actually quite enjoy this mixtape as a whole, and if I were to go re-rate it, I definitely would rate it higher than what I did in my album review. It's definitely very experimental, especially for NF, and a lot of the tracks I think actually hit. I think the later half of the album definitely does fall short compared to the first half, but and then the two tracks I really don't care for, Layers of Drifting, I've just come to absolutely hate those tracks. You know what I mean? But a part of me still wishes he didn't kind of rush this one out there and just kind of waited maybe another year or so to drop a full-length project, like I said, just a new material. Because the only other project that I've heard from NF up to the last year was Mansion. And we'll get to that in a little bit, but I definitely enjoy Clouds for what it is. I think to me, it hasn't been out long enough for me to definitely put it at an A tier. So, but it is pretty solid for the most part. I'm gonna put it at a B tier. Next, we got Cold World, the Sideline Story. Cole's his debut album. I know he had a bunch of mixtapes prior to this album. This dropped in 2011, and this project made me like some of the subject matters Cole would tackle throughout some of these tracks. You could tell which ones he definitely wrote. He was definitely like his idea, and then you could tell which ones the industry was like, hey, you need me make records like this. You know what I mean? First of all, any track with a feature, I think the feature completely bodies Cole on. Missy Elliott, Jay-Z, Drake was just terrible on this album. Drake has one real weird like feature where he mentions his auntie being equestrian. I don't know what that's about. And this was the first album that's had multiple tracks where there's like one line in a song that's completely ruined the song for me. Like how much Dollar in a Dream 3, that whole boy you the shit but you can't out fart me line completely ruined that track for me. I've never hated a track solely just based on one line before in my entire life until I heard this album. So for me, Cold World, it's better than Born Sinner, but definitely not even close to 2014 Forest Hills Drive. For me, it's just, I would say mid, but there are definitely more tracks I think I hate on this album than I love. You know what I mean? I do like quite a few tracks on this too. Like let me look through the ones that I like real quick. Rise and Shine, I believe. The Sideline Story is one of them. Breakdown. Can't Get Enough. Can't Get Enough is pretty catchy. That was another thing. There were too many catchy singles on this one for my liking. There were too many that sound like either club bangers or just like party songs, in my opinion. But Can't Get Enough, I know is kind of a like catchy song, but I still think I still actually quite like it. Likes Please, Lost Ones. Okay, so maybe I might have to retract my statement about more tracks I hate than I love, because it's just very mid in my opinion. It's very mid in my opinion. I think sometimes the tracks that I dislike or hate hold me back from appreciating this album to being a B tier or higher. You know what I mean? I'll say that. Yeah, SOD will never get to play the Super Bowl, and even if they were, offer, they would probably decline just because of how corporate the whole thing is. Yeah. And also, like, yeah. You know what I mean? But, nah, this Super Bowl performance, I'm so excited for. Like, I'm finna watch the entire Super Bowl just because of the performance. So, and also because I've just never really sat down and saw a Super Bowl before. But, let's continue on. Kendrick Lamar's Damn, his most recent studio album to date, as he has not released an album this year. People are speculating that he's going to drop sometime this year because he didn't last year. I heard Damn probably beginning in autumn of last year, and it has actually grown on me quite a lot. Like, I will say, Damn was the first album where there were tracks from Kendrick I really didn't care for. You know, it definitely is a very mainstream sounding album. It's not as conceptual as To Pimp a Butterfly nor Good Kid, Mad City, but I think it is definitely probably going to be Kendrick's best aided project in his discography, and I still love Good Kid, Mad City and To Pimp a Butterfly. But the higher class type of production on this will definitely keep this album relevant as long as Kendrick stays relevant. So, but it also definitely has some very deep tracks like Duckworth. Feel I think is probably one of the deepest tracks Kendrick's ever put out. So for me, Damn, I think I'm gonna rate it A tier. I think people give this credit. It is definitely, I will say, it definitely is Kendrick's worst project to date. But even his best project is better than most people's worst, or is better than most people's best project. His worst project is better than most people's best. So I like Damn, and the singles, it has some very catchy singles like Love, Humble. I'm one of the few people who like Humble. So XXX, like, I like Damn. I really do like Damn. Yeah, I don't care about you not being family friendly. It's just this term that you said. Where is it? This up here that you said does not look good. That does not look good. So that's why I don't like. It just doesn't look good. I don't want to get banned because you said this up there. Good placement on Damn. Barrett, I don't believe you've listened to Damn at all. I don't believe you've listened to a rap album. I don't think you've listened to... I don't even think you know. I feel like you've only listened to Humble DNA, Barrett. I was Seth's party, though, last night. I wasn't invited. You assholes. Hey, Lucy. Where did Lucy go? Here, let's say. Which one is it? Oh, here it is. Y'all want to say hi to the dog? Come here, Lucy. Come here. Come here. Yeah. Chat, here's the dog. His dog's name is Lucy. Don't blame me on the memes. Look at my playlist on Tuesday. Alright, bet. Or just screenshot your playlist right now and send it to me on Snapchat. Bro, it's not my party, Bubba. Well, y'all are all friends with Seth. Y'all could have told him, hey, Glitcher wanted to go, even though if you invited me, I probably would not win because I don't like parties. Nah, appreciate y'all stopping by yesterday, showing some love real quick. I do appreciate that. Y'all even got Chris in here. Like, Chris has known about the channel, but I don't think watched a single video of mine. Nah. Yup. This is how you get views on YouTube, y'all. You just get a dog, put it in front of the camera, and you'll get views. Yes, I realize it's not your party, Barrett. I was being sarcastic. Son of a bitch. Alright, let's get back into it. Let's get back into the tier list. And I just realized my stream is going to have to compete with the Super Bowl tonight. That is tough. That is definitely tough. We had to get that was the whole party. I mean, shoot. I don't even know if I was ranking while y'all were in the stream, but I still appreciate all y'all tuning in. Make sure to tell Jacob happy birthday as well. Nah, people hate cats on the internet. People hate cats on the internet. Let me see. I see Barrett. Alright. Love you, Michael. Bye, bud. Bye. Bye, Barrett. Alright. So next, we got Donda and Donda Deluxe. First of all, I picked this cover art for Donda because I really wish Kanye would have stuck with this. But hearing this album after doing the few requests given to me for reactions, as a whole album, this made me completely hate myself for the things I was saying during the reactions to some of these tracks. Like, this album was beautiful. Sonically, all the features, for the most part, all the features bodied this. It was just great. It was great. Listening to this album was like a uplifting spirit. Like, it's lifted my spirit almost in a way. It was great. It has some like catchy songs. It has some deep messages. Kanye sounds very energetic when he's actually contributing to some of the tracks. Like, it's an emotional roller coaster, and I absolutely loved Donda. For me, it hasn't been out long enough. Like I said, it's kind of like a situation for Clouds where it can be considered an S tier for me. But Donda, I think definitely, and especially being the first Kanye album I heard, I think definitely is a very solid project, and one of the, I think personally I could say one of the best rap albums that dropped last year. So Donda, A tier, along with Cole's 2014 Forest Hills Drive, Pac's All Eyes on Me, and Kendrick's Damn. So, thank God nerdy gamers aren't too big on sports balls. Bro, still, be right back, still can hear everything, just AFK. Oh, that's fine, man, that's fine. Next. Kanye really fumbled it with Donda Deluxe, not even gonna lie. Switching up the entire track list completely ruins the vibe that was captured on the original. I'm glad that we got the Andre 3000 track, but I really think the two tracks that were part twos, Keep My Spirit Alive or whatever, and the Young Thug track that added a Kid Cudi feature, I think those should have just honestly replaced the originals. And then the two other tracks where Kanye was singing by himself didn't really do all that. Overall, Donda Deluxe was definitely, I don't think, even needed. I think there could have been maybe a Donda EP, it would have been better. But for me, Kanye just kind of fumbled it with, especially switching up the track list. Like, you completely ruined the vibe of the original when you switched up the track list. And also, when you listen to Donda Deluxe, it's over 2 hours long. Like, Donda already as is a very lengthy project. But adding more tracks, not cutting any tracks, making this like over 2 hours long, I'm not listening to Donda Deluxe over the original any day. So for me, it's not terrible, but it's definitely not worth listening to compared to the original. So, next, we got Boogie, West Side Boogie, West Side Boogie, Everything for Sale. This was an album released early 2019, a new rapper who was signed to Eminem's label, Shady Records, and he dropped his debut album, Everything for Sale, on Shady Records. And I actually did like this album when it first came out. Not really crazy about some of the collabs on there. It's a pretty short, lengthy project, but since 2019, I really have not I've maybe listened to this album maybe 2 to 3 times in the past year or so, and I've realized like Boogie hasn't really discovered who he is yet, Boogie really hasn't discovered who he really is on this project yet, And for some reason, he is taking his sweet time releasing his next album. I would assume it's coming out this year. He turned it into Eminem. That's all I know. I don't know what's taking the record label so long to put it out. But it does not really too many memorable tracks. It's not terrible. It's just very like, I think it's the first step for West Side Boogie. So for me, I'll put this one at a C tier because I don't think it definitely deserve to be alongside ADHD or Born Sinner. But it, like I said, it's a record I really haven't revisited too much since since 2019, I'd say. Encore by Eminem. I don't even want to talk about how bad this album is. Like, this is supposed to be the follow-up to one of his, personally my favorite record of his, the Eminem Show. Which I guess I'll go ahead, since I said that, put Eminem Show at S tier. I'll kind of talk about both of these right here. Encore is a follow-up to the Eminem Show. Released 2 years later, and was rushed, like, put out and released, like, I think maybe 4 days before it was supposed to, as leaks were coming out from this album. So M had a rush in the studio while he was on some serious drug addiction, make some terrible songs and put them on his track list. Like, there are more songs that are terrible than good on this record. I hate Encore. Encore, and I stand by this statement, is the worst Eminem album there is. I don't think Relapse is. I don't think Revival is. Encore is easily the worst album Eminem has ever made. And the fact that he still praises his album is mind-blowing to me. So, I don't know. There's like literally 2 to 3 songs I like on here. There's a 50 Cent Joy, Mockingbird, and Toy Soldiers. Those are like the only tracks I like off of Encore. Other than that, I rarely revisit this album. This was actually the last Eminem album I've ever heard. And I kind of hate myself that I waited that long to listen to it. So, yeah, Encore will always be a D tier in my opinion. I don't see Encore ever getting past the C tier. I really don't. If I were to add maybe lower levels, then Encore would probably end up there. It'd probably downgrade in my opinion. So, since I mentioned Eminem Show being my favorite album, this is, like I said, I think I started listening to this maybe 2020, and I absolutely just love it. It's a complete like vibe. I know M was inspired by Jim Carrey's Truman Show or something like that for this record, and there's not a single track I hate on this one, and I really think Eminem Show is better than Marshall Mathers LP. While I do love the violence and the kind of aggression that's put on the Marshall Mathers LP, the Eminem Show is definitely just a more relatable album, cult classic, and I think is the bar that has been set on Eminem. You got the hits on there, even some of the like more personal tracks like Say Goodbye to Hollywood, I absolutely love. Hits, Sing About Me, or not Sing About Me, Sing for the Moment, Till I Collapse, Without Me. Like, there's some serious hits on this record. Not a single skip in my opinion. Not a single skip. What up, Tyler? What up, Jay the Redneck? What's good, y'all? What's good? Appreciate y'all tuning in on Super Bowl Sunday. Next, we got Joyner Lucas Evolution. This mixtape is by far the best thing that Joyner Lucas has ever put out. There's maybe like one skip on this project. I really hate that there is. For some reason, one of the tracks on Spotify has been taken down. But as a whole record, the simplest thing that Joyner's ever put out sounds like the best thing he's ever put out. And I honestly don't see him ever topping this. Like, especially with the way his last few, with the singles that he put out last year are going, I don't see Joyner topping Evolution anytime. So, for me, I absolutely love this when it released after the flop of ADHD. For me, Evolution is an A tier. I don't think it'll ever hit that S tier for me because Joyner was, like I said, it was a rather simple project, especially for Joyner's level. But absolutely love Evolution. I have to drive back to work from my lunch break. Oh, I appreciate you stopping by, Jay. Really do appreciate that. Tyler, same with you as well. Next, Good Kid, Mad City. I listened to this. This was the first album I really dove into during the pandemic, when the pandemic started. And I don't think there was a better time for me to listen to this album. Because, I say that, Kendrick Lamar, during the events of Good Kid, Mad City, is 17 years old. I think I may have just turned 17 or 16 when I first heard this album. And I could relate to just kind of that, like, you know, kid, like, teen, like, wildin' vibe in a way. And it's just, once I did the album review and dove way more into the album, I absolutely fell in love with almost every single track, man. I don't think there's a single skip. I think all these tracks really tie in well together. And to me, this is personally my favorite, like, because I can personally relate to this album. This is personally my favorite favorite Kendrick Lamar album. So it's always going to be in my high graces. And since my album review, I have actually surprisingly come to love this album a lot more. Like, I would say I bumped Good Kid, Mad City at least once or twice every month since listening to it. It's such a great project, and I could listen to it forever and it never get old. Thanks, Jay, for the invite. Haha, how to get out of church, Poe. Hey, Heather. Alpha Tyler, also, most of my nerdy gaming friends are also weebs, so place I can't go into without bursting into flame. Appreciate you stopping by, Heather. I'm assuming Tyler shared this in the Alpha Tyler Discord once again. Let me see. Wait, is this my chat? Wait, how'd everybody know? Oh, because Jay said something. Or maybe Tyler. I'm not quite sure. I appreciate y'all stopping by, though. Haha, you gotta get into the right room still. Just gotta avoid the shitheads who think they're perfect. If I don't burst into flames, you won't either. Fair enough. Next. Tupac's Greatest Hits. A cult classic. Definitely. But like I said, for me, compilation albums, I don't like listening to. I don't like listening to just the hits on there, but there were definitely some original tracks on here. And I really wish this wasn't like another All Eyes on Me. Is another double disc CD album, and it is definitely a long listen. But for the most part, I actually agree with all the hits that are. For the most part, I really agree with most of the hits that are on here. But like I said, for me, I'll never put a compilation album at an S tier. So Greatest Hits will probably always stay at an A tier for me. Just because of the length of it, and some of the tracks I don't really necessarily agree with being on here. And just the fact that I personally am not the biggest fan of compilation hit albums. Yeah, but I thought honestly y'all two actually knew each other. I thought you two really did know each other. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought Poe and Tyler knew each other. Interesting. Anyway, next we got the collaboration, or next we got Bad Meets Evil, a collaboration between Eminem, Royce da 5'9", two Detroit legendary MCs for Hell the Sequel. It's a short little EP. It's very replayable. There's not really a lot of skips on it. But there are definitely some tracks where I feel like Royce is better than Eminem and vice versa. But I feel like the tracks where Royce is better than Em are probably some of my least favorite. But some of my favorites also do see Royce, like, I think top, like, being above Eminem lyrically, whether it be with clever punchlines or his flow patterns. But I think for the most part, this record wasn't actually that bad. I definitely do want to see these two release Hell the Trilogy sometime. I'd rather see another Bad Meets Evil album than another Eminem album, to be honest. So until we get that, Hell the Sequel, I'll put at a B tier because I did visit it quite often since hearing it like 2020 into 2020 I say, because it is a pretty short EP. So, but it's just nothing but bars, flow patterns. Production is kind of sick at times. There are a couple samples thrown in there, and then the two hits, Fastlane and Lighters featuring Bruno Mars. Lighters is such a beauty. Like, if any track you haven't heard from Bad Meets Evil off this EP, Lighters is definitely one y'all should check out. I feel like we're gonna get along pretty well. I don't think so. Definitely will. Haha. No, I don't think we do. Making sure, as far as I know. Okay, well that's good. That's good. I'm bringing members of the Glitcher gang together. That's great. That's great. Tyler, and for just for the sake of it, Tyler streams more often than I do, and I don't know how he does it, man. I don't know. He's a busy man, and I don't know how he does it, but shout out to Alpha Tyler for just always grinding, man. Always grinding for perfection. So, next, Kamikaze. The first surprise drop of many surprise drops that would continue on after M dropped this in mid to late 2018. At first, I really did like this record. I think almost everything was a hit in my opinion. But then looking back at it, like towards the end of 2021, it was definitely bitter fueled, definitely very rushed. Production wise, I don't think M sounds that great on most of those things. I do still like the lyricism that was brought upon on this album, but it just feels very like petty of M to respond and use this whole album as a response to critics, artists that dissed his last album. Like I really don't like this album. I really don't like it. It's not as terrible as Encore. It is also very short, and for me, I feel Kamikaze does, I think, deserve a C tier. Because there are definitely some hits of it. I actually like the songs that kind of don't fit. That was another thing. Only about half the tracks on this album actually fit with the kind of bitterness and anger that Eminem had towards this entire project. There were like half of the album didn't even stick with the theme of Kamikaze. That being the 3 love songs that on there, the Venom song, which God help us for existing, Stepping Stones, like that's like 5 out of I think the 12, 13 tracks that exist on that album. Like it just wasn't very thought out or very solid of a project looking back at it. It definitely did shake the whole industry and gave a lot of attention to the reaction community, so we always gotta praise Kamikaze for that, I will say. Also, I'm not a fan of greatest hits albums. A lot of the time it takes away from the track because it's supposed to be related to the rest of the original album, at least with the artists I listen to. Yeah, see, that's what I mean. Like, that's why compilation albums won't be like an S tier for me, no matter who it is. No matter who it is, like, the original tracks are put on an album and the way they're put in an album for a reason. So when you just kind of take that, like, strip those tracks away from the album, it kind of like doesn't connect the same way. So my goal is to stream Friday though, Monday through Monday, but it never works out that way. Need to buckle down on my schedule. My goal is to stream every day of the week. I always fail though. Shoot. Props for you, dude. Honestly, I don't know how Simple has been streaming as much as he did. He's just really grinding game and streams right now. So if he's doing something that he loves, then shout out to him. Props to him, man. Because that's some serious grinding right there. To be fair, he is playing a video game. And I guess playing a video game is when you stream a video game, I think is different than when you stream reactions or even what I'm kind of doing right now. So, or even what you kind of do, Tyler. Like you getting on live with some of the other guys doing the Alpha Tyler Tuesdays, like Alpha Tuesdays or whatever. You know what I mean? So, but hey, props to all y'all who. Props to Poe, props to Alpha Tyler, props to Simp for streaming as consistently as they do, man. So, Next, Tec-9 Kod. I listened to this at some of the worst times last year, like some of like late nights or like nights where I'm trying to like, you know, stay awake, and this album really does scare you. Like, this album still gives me the same type of dark and twisted vibe that I felt when reacting to these tracks for the very first time in 2020, man. Absolutely love this album, and I really hate the fact that I'll never find a vinyl version of this album. I have been looking, and then I finally looked at Tec-9's website, and there's just not a single vinyl version. I guess Tec-9 didn't do vinyls prior to like, I guess 2010 or 2015. There are a couple vinyls for some of his newer projects, but I haven't heard those yet, so I'm not gonna buy them. So, but KOD is always gonna be in my high. I'm always gonna praise KOD. I love the dark consecutive theme throughout the entire project. Tec-9 really got in his feelings on some tracks and made some bangers at the same time. The features have really grown. Even some of my least favorite features have really grown on me and add some serious impact to that kind of backs up like Tech's dark mindset that he went with throughout this album. So KOD, top of the list for me. Eminem. Alright, so Tyler, how he ranks Eminem's discography. Eminem Show, Recovery, Slim Shady LP, Kamikaze, Marshall Mathers LP 2, Marshall Mathers LP, Revival, Encore, Music to be Murdered by, Relapse. Listen. Let's go to full screen. I don't disagree with Recovery being high. I quite like Recovery. We'll get into that in a little bit. But man, Music to be Murdered by being that, and Relapse being last. Like, you think... I just saw... Dude, oh my god. Oh my god. Slim Shady LP better than Kamikaze. Marshall Mathers LP 2 over Marshall Mathers LP. Kamikaze being over Marshall Mathers LP. Oh my god. Tyler, we're talking after this. I can't focus on your comment. I'm still... You shouldn't be high if you're in recovery, Smasher. That... Relapse is barely worth acknowledging. Oh my god. I might time Tyler out for that. You know what, fuck it. I'm gonna time Tyler out for that. No, put user in timeout. You've been put in timeout. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, I didn't want to delete the message. I didn't care. Oh shit, it deleted all his messages. Oh no. It deleted all his messages. 300 seconds? How long is 300 seconds? How long is 300 seconds? It's like 5 minutes. Oh no. Herman, you just missed me ban someone for 5 minutes. Oh, he's gonna be so mad. Tyler's gonna be so mad. The next live stream of Tyler's I go into, he's gonna ban me just off the gate. Oh, to be fair, he deserved it. He said Relapse is not worth mentioning. Come on. Oh my god. I'll talk about it when we get into that album. I'll talk about it when we get into that album. Oh, we got some rip, Tyler. This dude has a backup channel. This dude has a backup channel. Look at that. That's Tyler. I think, can I undo it? Yeah, let's see. I think I can, right? No, I don't think I can. I think we're just gonna have to wait for 5 minutes. Oh, that smart move, Tyler. Smart move. That's fair. That's fair, Tyler. That's fair. You cannot. Oh. I don't get you an algorithm hit. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's just all funny jokes. Oh, jeez. That was funny, though. That was funny. Come on. You gotta admit. Let's go on to the next one, though. Stop. That's gonna be a video of its own. Let's go on to the next album, Lift Your Sphere by Aloe Blacc. Like I said, yesterday he was on when we were doing the tier list for the artists I listened to. Aloe Blacc was significantly low on the list because I really didn't listen to him. I did listen to his two of his albums that I used to listen to. Like, I maybe bumped for a year back in like 2017 before I got Spotify. Lift Your Spirit and then Good Things. Lift Your Spirit is about 10 songs long. It's not a very long album, but there were some tracks that I really just did not like the vibe of, or just sounded very, like, I don't know, basic in my opinion. Because he's a jazz musician, artist, singer, whatever you want to label him as. But I kind of did like and kind of didn't like the vibe of this album. You know what I mean? So, for me, I think Lift Your Spirit isn't deserving of a D tier, but I haven't listened to it enough to even give it a B tier, so I'm going to put it at a C. Lift Your Spirit for me is a C tier. Now YouTube uses it to determine who is disruptive in other people's streams, so they won't let you undo it. Switch over YouTube, just saying, 100%. Dog, nah. I'm sorry, but Twitch put out too many dumb rules and bans content creators too often. Like, there's a reason why some of the biggest streamers on Twitch have switched over to YouTube. And it's not just because the contract's expiring. Like, there's a reason. There's so much more freedom on YouTube compared to Twitch. Like, that's just me. That's just me. And, like, I briefly discussed it yesterday. I want to get into gaming, streaming off of my Xbox onto Twitch, but I didn't want to do that originally. I wanted just to, like, figure out a way to connect my Xbox to the second monitor I'm using and stream Streamlabs. But I feel like that's more complicated than just streaming on Twitch, and then I could go back, download the VODs on Twitch, and then edit them the way I want, and then upload that as a video eventually to YouTube. You know what I mean? But nah. To me, YouTube's always going to be better. It's always going to be better. I'd rather grow it's easier to grow a platform on YouTube than it is Twitch. That's another thing, too. So, at least when it comes to... when it comes to live streams, I'll agree on that. But like I said, if you don't stream consistently on Twitch, it is very difficult to grow a platform on YouTube. Or, on Twitch. If you can at least stream every now and then on YouTube, you can bring in some views. You can. Have point redemptions to time out viewers on Twitch. They reversed that stuff recently. YouTube is way more restrictive now. I don't know. I'm always gonna side with YouTube. If it comes down to the end of the day, I'm always gonna side with YouTube. Because especially for the type of content I make, YouTube is way easier to have a platform on than Twitch. I'm a VTuber and I have multiple variants of my models, so I have a redeem for those. I have one where I have to chug a monster. That one is 20k though. Damn, does it cost that much, or are you just saying channel wise? I don't know. We'll see. Let's just move on. Machiavelli's The Don Illuminati, the first Tupac album, released only I think 2 months after Pac's death in '96, caught the whole industry off, like completely shook up the industry, because it's like, how was a Tupac album released so quickly after his death? Like, and people were actually questioning whether he was dead or not. First of all, I started listening to this album in 2021. As we were painting the walls for this house, like the room right next door, I was painting that room and this room when I first started listening to the Don Illuminati, and I absolutely fell in love with it. I really do. There's like actually only one skip on that album, and I could at least deal with that skip and it not ruin the entire project in my opinion. I love the Don Illuminati. It's a very short project where Machiavelli is just fueled by all the hate that rappers have against him, the industry's had against him since he was released, since his beef with Biggie was made more publicly in '95, like, and it just feels right. Such a scary album coming that was released shortly after Pac's death, and this, I think honestly, this is one of the best aged Tupac albums out there. It really is. None of these tracks feel outdated. It's not boring at all. It's very short, and Tupac and the Outlaws do their thing throughout this entire thing. And I just love all the shots that Pac takes. Dre, Snoop, Jay-Z, Biggie, Mobb Deep. Like, Pac really went at the industry, the whole East Coast, throat during this record. Absolutely love it. A tier for me. A tier for me, easily. My homie Nev does the VTuber stuff. Facts, I would get shut down for 90% of the stuff I say in my stream. 20k channel points. You can get that in like a couple weeks if a person streams enough. I'll be live tonight if you want to pop it. I start at 8 p.m. Eastern and I'll probably be going for like 5 hours. Thank you, Herman. Thank you. Thank you, Herman. Thank you. That's why. That's why he on the wall right there. That's why he on the wall. He on the wall right there. Here you go. Here you go. And then I actually bought a vinyl copy of the Don Illuminati alongside Doggy Style. I think maybe a week after my birthday. So I got really excited and saw a vinyl copy of the Don Illuminati. And I was like, I have to have this. And God, is it a great record! I absolutely love it. If there was a Machiavelli record released and like just surprisingly out of nowhere like this year, I would flip shit. I would absolutely flip shit if another Machiavelli project, because there is Pac in '96 and then Machiavelli on how like angry and like cutthroat he went with that record. So next, we got NF's Mansion, the first full-length studio album released by NF. I want to say 2015. I think this came out shortly, not too long after he was actually signed by some Christian rap record label, and I was really looking forward to this because I really enjoyed the Mansion song. And Mansion was like the second track on this track list. And then it just kind of completely went downhill. Like, this, I don't know why. J. Cole, his first two projects, and NF's Mansion, were, I think, seriously, like, shaped and formed because of the industry. Like, there's a club banger, a NF made a club banger on Mansion. That does not sound right at all. And for whatever reason, I don't know why NF sings more on this album than he does rap. For me, Mansion was such a letdown. Like, it has literally there's Mansion, and then one of the final 2 tracks on this album that I actually enjoy. Like, everything else is I completely slept on. I do not. This was one of the most disappointing albums. Like, I was really looking forward to listening to last year. For me, Mansion is alongside ADHD, Born Sinner, and Encore. And I would put it at C tier, but I literally don't think I have more than 3 songs added from this album. And I think this album is literally like 12 songs long. So, let me look. I'll Keep On, the intro, Mansion. That's it. Yeah. And the intro. And the only reason the intro's on there because I like the flow patterns. The flow patterns and kind of the delivery he has on that one. Oh snap, I just remembered to have something I wanted to ask you. I'm going to have to DM you about it on Discord. I mean, you can ask right here. I'll answer it right here. Unless you are... Oh. I'm saving up. Let's say that. I'm saving up for that. I am definitely saving up for that. That's kind of the money that... Okay. I won't explain it here, but I'm saving up, Poe. I'm saving up. Next, we got Me Against the World. This is easily the best album by Tupac ever made. Released not too many months after he was shot for the first time and the whole elevator incident, or maybe not even the elevator incident, but this was shortly released after, like in 93 after he was shot. It's, I believe, Tupac's 3rd studio album. Love the entire thing. Like, the singles off of this album I think are better than anything else, including the Don Illuminati single wise. But I absolutely just love this mentality that Tupac was in. He wasn't really aiming at anybody's throat. His penmanship was insane throughout all of the tracks on this album. You know what I mean? And this was Pac at his peak. This album was Pac at his peak, man. So this one, S tier. If I wanted to, I'd actually put Tupac above Me Against the World above all these albums. I think Tupac's Me Against the World is the greatest album that I've ever heard, like hands down. And I love that album. Absolutely love it. And that made me realize how much I can actually relate to Tupac's music so many years after his death. Like, this man is decades before I was born. And I feel like I could relate to everything. Not like on such a like actual level, but just personally, like his mentality, me against the world. That's been my mentality my entire life growing up. So, absolutely love this record. Nothing I could critique about it. Nothing at all. The only album that I think deserves worthy of being put against Me Against the World in Pac's discography is the Don Illuminati. I gotta head out so I can get ready to do this commission. I'll catch you, but I appreciate you stopping by, Poe. Really do appreciate it. Good luck with that, man. And yeah, we can definitely talk more on DMs about that stuff. So, but let's just say I'm working on it. Definitely working on it. Now, the Marshall Mathers. Okay, so I feel like it's only right if we do the Marshall Mathers LP 1 before 2. The Marshall Mathers LP was one of the last Eminem albums I ever listened to. I have a vinyl copy of it. I really do enjoy the album. This was definitely Eminem at a peak, but I don't think at the peak nearly as much as the Eminem show was. Love a lot, just the aggression and raw delivery throughout this entire album. It definitely has its hits. Stan, The Way I Am, Real Slim Shady, Bitch Please 2, Criminal, I absolutely love. I think Criminal is seriously underrated. Kill You, I absolutely love too. Um, it's a classic. Personally, me, like I said, I think the Eminem Show is better, but I definitely do think it deserves its praise. The controversy around it is fucking insane, and it's really crazy. This is what M has been trying to reach ever since there. He's admitted it several times. It's very obvious amongst his fans and even people who hate against him, but like he was on some shit with this. He was on some serious shit with this. And like I said, I think the Eminem Show is better. But I still really enjoy the Marshall Mathers LP for what it is. Drug Ballad is a very, like, one of my favorites. Marshall Mathers just as a song. Like, and M was going at everybody. Like, Pac was going at everybody on the Don Illuminati. Like, he would say the first thing that came to mind. Like, ICP, critics, Kill You is a very disturbing, or not Kill You. Kilm is definitely a very disturbing track. Britney Spears, Will Smith, so many people, just was taking shots at with this record. Absolutely love that kind of the I don't give a fuck attitude was at its peak on the Marshall Mathers LP. So next, we got the sequel released in 2013. Very polished. It starts off picking up the story of Stan, Bad Guy. The very first track is a follow-up to the events of Stan, kind of Stan's little brother going to capturing Eminem and then possibly killing him at the beginning of the album. And then Marshall Mathers LP 2 definitely does separate itself as not a sequel to the Marshall Mathers LP. M's lyricism was definitely at its peak right here. I think production-wise it is very on and off. The few features on this album, I really did not care for it. Like, the Kendrick Lamar track definitely was kind of a letdown. Rihanna's Monster collab, I think, is a little overrated. I prefer Love the Way You Lie over the Monster. I don't even remember who else M really collabed with on this album. I know there's a few more big names, but I can't remember. Oh, Headlights was a great track. It definitely has its singles, but I definitely think this album is a little overrated. I don't think it's A tier. I don't think it's S tier. But I definitely don't hate it like I first did when I first listened to it. So Marshall Mathers LP 2, I think, is definitely sits at a B tier for me. Probably one of the higher B tiers, but I don't think it's even like. I don't think it's trash, and I don't think it's as incredible as people say. But I do really appreciate M's lyricism on this one. It's on a completely whole nother level. But production-wise, it is definitely one of the strangest Eminem albums. Next, we got Reasonable Doubt by Jay-Z, another very infamous debut album. Jay-Z just really came into the industry and said he was the man. He was in charge of the East Coast. Like, he sounded so professional at this. Like, he had been doing this his entire life. And he was only, like, entering his 20s when this album first came out. And he just sounds like a complete businessman. He sounds like Jay-Z as a bit... Him on this record sounded like Jay-Z, sounded as rich as Jay-Z is now. Like, he just sounded like a complete professional, like, on this record. Nothing I could critique about it. Another S tier for me. Just no doubt in my mind, S tier. Sure, sometimes the production does sound a little outdated, but even then, Jay-Z's flow, his, like, just level of thinking. And remember, Jay-Z is one of the only rappers who steps in a booth and freestyles everything. He doesn't write everything down. He thinks of everything. He doesn't write and do a verse. He thinks of everything. So, I can't say anything. There's nothing about Reasonable Doubt I could critique. Absolutely love it. Phenomenal album, and definitely another one that has aged very well in today's era, in my opinion. Recovery is dope. I still listen to this day. Oh, yeah. Speaking of Recovery, because I didn't even realize that was the next one. Recovery, man. I definitely, before really getting into Eminem's albums, definitely vibed Not Afraid, and Spacebound for the longest time. Eventually, I would add Love the Way You Lie, No Love featuring Lil Wayne, and those were just the hits. So when I finally got into the record, I was a little thrown off at the beginning, but then as you just segue through, this is probably one of M's most personal records. He talks about his addiction. He talks about kind of like getting out of that pit of depression that he's been set in because of drugs, because of his best friend dying, like his second split with his wife, and it's such a great replayable value. I think it is definitely M's most mainstream album, but I don't know why people use that as an excuse to downplay this album. For me, Recovery is very replayable. There are some tracks I do not really care for, such as like the love songs or just like very corny I guess club bangers in a way. But for me, Recovery is always going to be in a high. I'm always going to praise Recovery. I don't think it's definitely like very calm and kind of like with Evolution, very simple for an Eminem album. But for me, I think that's what makes me enjoy it so much, because it is very simple and it's probably one of M's most relatable albums. Because Eminem Show, like I said, is very relatable, but you can really not ever relate to what M's went through with any other album besides Eminem Show and Recovery, in my opinion. This came after his Letdown albums too. I believe me and my friends bumped this all the time when it came out. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. There are some really energetic tracks throughout this album. Talking to Myself, Not Afraid, No Love. The Untitled track, Untitled, is by far just one of those tracks where you're like, what the fuck, is Eminem even human? That's one of those tracks. I actually really love Untitled, man. So we're gonna move on to the next one, Relapse. Now, I think I'm about to make some people mad with this one, because I genuinely enjoy Relapse. Y'all, if you were here earlier in the stream, I banned Alpha Tyler for putting Relapse as Eminem's worst album. I don't think it's his best album, but I think people give this album too much shit, man. Creatively, this is M's best standout project creatively. The accents at times can be a little annoying, but just the Slim Shady killer vibe that he brought on this album throughout the entire project was on another level. If you like lyrical Eminem, you're gonna like Marshall Mathers LP too. But the lyricism level on Relapse is so fucking off the chain. And there's not a lot of features on this, so this is really just Eminem, just doing him, just being Slim, being a different version of Slim that I think is very original and creative, in my opinion. So for me, Relapse is at least an A tier. I would have considered it S tier, but I definitely understand. I definitely can admit to some of the tracks that are kind of whack on there. There are some tracks on this album that could be considered some of the worst tracks Eminem's ever made. But same could be said kind of with 2 to 3 tracks on Recovery, maybe 1 track or 2 on Marshall Mathers LP 2. Eminem Show and Marshall Mathers LP are perfection. You know what I mean? So, but Relapse, even the tracks that I hate on there, at least he still carries the lyricism and the accents throughout the album. You know what I mean? So, Almost Famous, pretty good too. Yeah, I forgot about Almost Famous from Recovery. Bags on Baghdad, baby. Also, that was another thing. Production, Dr. Dre's production on Relapse, I think, completely set the vibe. No track on Relapse sounded like one another. For instance, I'll say this. Marshall Mathers on the Marshall Mathers LP. The beat for that is Still Don't Give a Fuck from the Slim Shady LP. It is literally the exact same beat. So everything on Relapse, production wise, was so unique. And even some of my least favorite tracks, like We Made You, at least the production is kind of zany and creative and supposed to be and meant to be fun. And then you're just met with some serious like literal lightning strikes on tracks like Underground, freaking what is that one? Stay Wide Awake. Like it's a horror flick. It's a horror flick album, kind of like KOD. And it's crazy that I'm actually putting KOD over Relapse, but I have come to accept that. Like, and these two albums released in the same year, so that's even crazier. But yeah, Relapse for me, A tier. And Tyler, I'm 18 now. We could put on the boxing gloves over Relapse. Come on, let's get it running. We'd be the biggest fight since Logan Paul and Floyd Mayweather. Come on, man. I can take you in a boxing fight, Tyler. I can take you. Let's not actually set that up. Let's not actually set that up. Oh, snap. Oh, I'm sweating now. Next, Revival. Now, when I first heard this album, this was the first Eminem album I ever heard. And maybe that's why I loved it so much when I first heard it. But, as I went on to listen to M's entire discography, including Kamikaze, I realized why so many people didn't care for Revival. The production is very all over the place. There are some tracks that are absolutely garbage. Remind Me, the original version of Chloroseptic, Untouchable. Like, some tracks were made to be more mainstream alongside with the features such as Like Home, River, Nowhere Fast. I don't even know. Nowhere Fast is about nothing. That was another thing. There were so many tracks on there that really meant nothing. Like, the only tracks that meant something and brought something new, I guess, was Walk on Water, Castle Rose, and while I do like Frame would fit perfectly like with Relapse era Eminem, so it wasn't even like a new type of track. You know what I mean? Believe was pretty good, but for motivational songs by Eminem, not one of the best. So Revival for me, I still appreciate the few gems on it, especially Rose and Castle. I think those are two really great complementary tracks that go together well and do close off the album better than I think started it. But Revival for me, it's not worse than Encore. It is not worse than Encore, so for that I think I have to put it at a C tier. Because it would just be wrong for me to put Revival next to Encore. It just really would. So, yeah. Ugh. Dang, this list is taking for a long time too. I'm glad I didn't do this one last night. I think y'all guys can see there are some albums that I really praise and some I just really rarely visit again. So, and like I said, I'm an Eminem fan, but even I can admit when some of these albums are like trash. Everyone is split about Relapse. I think there are people like me who can come to appreciate Recovery. I don't think Recovery is overhated for sure. I know this one, Marshmallow's LP too. A lot of people would put this higher. Me, I do like it, but it's definitely deserves the praise that it gets. Revival, I don't think should be. It definitely deserves its hate, but I think it is just a little overhated. If you're saying Revival is worse than Encore, I think you're just definitely overhating if you think Revival is worse than Encore. There's no cohesiveness in the arrangements, but the individual songs are pretty fantastic. Revival is criminally underrated. Yeah, that's what I mean. You know, it's weak for an Eminem album, but if anyone else were to do it, it'd probably make a type of Revival type of album. People would probably praise it and consider it like a lost gem. You know what I mean? So, next thing's next. We got "Are You Still Down" by Tupac. This was, I believe, the first posthumous album that was released under Tupac's name. I think maybe this was when he wasn't with Death Row. But even with this being a double-sided CD, I actually quite like "Are You Still Down." Like, it sounded like a complete project overall. There's not a lot of tracks that I think are unnecessary or worth skipping. I do like the few either remixes or different versions that are on that album as well. And honestly, I think Are You Still Down is criminally underrated in Tupac's discography. And it has and literally it's crazy. This album has one of the biggest stream songs of Tupac's discography, Do For Love. And oh my god, if you don't think Do For Love is one of the best rap love songs of all time, you're out of your mind. So for me, Are You Still Down is probably an A tier. Like I said, maybe if it wasn't a double-sided CD like All Eyes on Me or Greatest Hits, it'd probably honestly be an S tier. But I don't think it would be right to put Are You Still Down as a B tier, because I quite actually enjoy Are You Still Down. And now that I think about it, I don't even think there's a lot of features on this album compared to even All Eyes on Me. So this was probably the most independent Tupac project we've got since Tupacalypse Now, when you really think about it. God, I gotta use the restroom again. Next, Music to Be Murdered by Side A. I'm about to release an album review on it, so I won't talk too much about it that I really didn't say in my album review. But for me, Side A is not better than Side B. I really did enjoy it when it first came out, but then when Side B released at the end of 2020, I didn't even really care for Side A. Like, I think the features on there, I think are great. I actually really do enjoy most of the features on there, but there are definitely some of the worst tracks Eminem's ever put out on this album. So, and I do appreciate him for taking in a new style production-wise, but not all of them hit. Like, some of the best tracks, like I Will, hit because that sounds literally like the old Eminem. And I know that's what he was trying to do with this album. I think it was a little bit of a failed attempt, but it definitely isn't as terrible as I think everybody's saying. If you think Music to Be Murdered By is the worst album since Revival, you're crazy. Out of Revival, Kamikaze, and Music to Be Murdered By, Music to Be Murdered By is the best out of those three. But even that being said, the Side A is a C tier for me. Now Side B, there's like barely any skips from me for Side B. I think everything was a hit. There, and you just see him having the most fun I think he's ever had in a long time. Like, him just purely sounds like he's having fun on this album. Like, and I think when he has fun, that's when he makes the best music and the most entertaining music for the audience. You know what I mean? And I'm being straight up. Almost every track I have added from Side B, like, I love everything. Even the features, I think M really sits alongside with some features. Like, it's great to hear M again with Dr. Dre. Sly Piper on Guns Blazing was a great contribution. I actually really was surprised by the Ty Dolla $ign collaboration. Let's see. I'm trying to think. And then M's just stand alone rapping on tracks like Alfred's Theme or Tone Deaf is pretty funny. Nat was just insane. There are so many beat switches on Nat from, like, because the DA got that Doe's production. It's insane. Like, that production on Nat is stupid insane. And then I really just love how motivational Higher is and kind of how much love Higher's been getting recently. So, for me, Side B is way better than Side A. It's definitely not an S tier because there's definitely some flaws to it. And it is quite lengthy when you add another, like, 30 minutes worth of content that's attached to an hour-long album as is. So for me, Side B is at least an A tier. It is definitely an A tier, and I know some tracks probably aren't going to age well after the pandemic, but for now, I just actually really enjoy hearing Eminem sound like he has fun for once. You know what I mean? Damn, I need to blow my nose. We're getting into an album soon that I'm gonna have to debate on where it goes here in a little bit. But Cap, what's Cap? Wait, what's Cap, Tyler? Are you talking about music to be murdered by? Because like I said, I already want to fight you for a relapse. Oh, you do think Side A is better. I remember that. You think Side A is better. Listen, Side B was for the fans. Side B was just for the fans. And I'll stand by that statement. I love Side B. I love Side B compared to Side A. I forget you like freaking Side A. Side A was garbage compared to Side B. While you take your sweet, gentle time with your greasy fingers answering that, we're going to move on to the next one. Slim Shady LP. This was another one of those projects that, I was hearing a lot about and thought, it was going to be great. Honestly, this is with it being the, oldest album available in Eminem's discography, this one that doesn't age well, in my opinion. Slim Shady LP introduces us to a new type of rapper and new, white guy who's just trying to have fun and just, be kind of a goofball. But to me, this old era of him, I don't really care for. Even the singles off there are very outdated in my opinion. My Name Is, Brain, freaking Role Model. I don't even think Slim Shady LP is a little snooze fest for me. It really is. It's not terrible, but I don't think it's as entertaining and definitely deserves the praise as much as him or his fan bases give him. So for me, Slim Shady LP, it's probably a C tier as well. It's probably a C tier. It's not, I don't personally ever go back and be like, ooh, I want to listen to Slim Shady LP. I'll listen to anything from an A tier up, I'll visit more often when it comes to Eminem. So Music to be Murdered by being better than almost anything low. Side A had all the halfway decent tracks. Tyler gonna fight you, Mike. Yeah, I know I'm 18. I know I'm 18. That's why I want to fight you. That's why I want to. Bro. Tyler, we've already had this fight. I'm not gonna wasting time on your shitty opinion. I'm just being honest. Next, we got Strictly For My by Tupac, released in, I believe, 93? I believe this one was released in 93. I don't like this record. I just don't. There's maybe 2 to 3 songs I have added on this record, and it's my least favorite Tupac record. I don't know why the production is just so ear-blasting loud. Pac, I think this was the first album Pac was really signed with a major studio album, and none of these tracks really go hand in hand with each other. Production's all over the place. Sometimes Pac's vocals are turned down to where you can't hear him, and the only tracks I think I really do enjoy are some of the tracks where he's with a collaboration, where he's with a feature. You have the Ice Cube and Ice-T track. You have the follow-up to If My Homies Call. I forget what that track's name is called. And then you have obviously the cult classic, Holler If You Hear Me and Keep Your Head Up. But other than that, Tupac Strictly For My is my least listened to Tupac album. I've heard even Machiavelli's The Don Illuminati and let's see, Are You Still Down more than Strictly For My. So for me, it's my least favorite Tupac album. I rarely visit it again. I visit it as much as these albums. I hate putting Tupac album in D tier, but I personally just don't like Strictly For My. I definitely don't understand why that album gets so much praise when it comes to Tupac's discography. I got 100. I got Mike 200 plus. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Herman. You could go that way, Herman. Mike's opponent was an Army combative instructor with a black belt in Shotokan and several kickboxing medias. But I'll take your bet. Medals. I meant medals, not medias. Listen, I just know kick-assery. Tyler. Watch this. You don't want to get a foot up your ass, boy. You don't want to get a foot up your ass, Tyler. Oh, man. Nah. we're gonna set it up. We're gonna be like Kanye and Drake. We're gonna square up then. It's all love and jokes at the side, Tyler. All the imagine we really do fight each other over an Eminem album. That is the dumbest shit in the world, to be honest. Next track, or next album, The Off Season by Cole. Oh my god. This was my summer anthem. This was my 2021 summer anthem. Like, I absolutely love this album. I really do. Like, Black Belt and Kikassery, yes. See, Herman gets it. But I absolutely love this album. I have literally bumped this album maybe 4 or 5 times because it is quite a short album. Like, maybe every month since it's been released, or since I started listening to it in like May or something like that, June of 2021, I absolutely love this album. And I would say, I don't think it's right, because I now realize, this year I realized 2014 Forest Hills Drive is better than the Off Season. But Off Season is just such a vibe. And I could, like, it just gives me energy because I see the album cover, and when I'm on the court, like warming up or something like that, or even when I was out shooting outside, I just loved listening to the Off Season. It just gave me energy and made me feel invincible. Like I could literally be like a little LeBron James on the court. You know what I mean? So Off Season, for me, is an S tier. Looking back at it, like this year, because this is a 2021 tier list. Let's not get this twisted. Looking back at it, I would put 2014 Forest Hills Drive up on S tier, but I hadn't heard 2014 Forest Hills Drive to the point where I've made that decision compared to where I am now here in February of 2022. So I definitely love the Off Season though. I definitely love it. There's not a single skip in my opinion, and production is just absolutely perfect. And then all the features alongside Cole, 21 Savage, Lil Baby, Boss, like all those guys sounded great. And the only complaint I have about the Off Season, I wish it was longer. I just wished it was a little longer. I hate that some tracks are a little under 2 minutes or 3, even like 2.5 minutes. You know what I mean? But even then, I loved the Off Season last year. It was literally my summer anthem. Kanye and Pete Davidson. I learned that tossing hay bales in Kentucky as a kid, Lil. Right here in Texas, we toss more hay bales than them Kentucky motherfuckers. Oh, no. Nah. Wait, me and Tyler, if we were to fight over something, it would not be over an album. Like, come on, that's just silly. That's just silly. Especially since Tyler is the reason why, like, I am to where I am today, I'd say. Like, Tyler is a big help and all that. I want to do that, man. Tyler's a homie. Tyler's a real homie. He got a kid. I couldn't afford to kick his ass and pay his bills. I just couldn't. But, enough jokes, man. To Pimp a Butterfly, do I even have to talk about this? Is there really even a reason to talk about To Pimp a Butterfly? Like I said, Good Kid, Mad City is my personal favorite Kendrick Lamar album. But there is absolutely the subjects that Kendrick briefly touched on Good Kid, Mad City, he, like, perfectly executed on this album. I absolutely love the jazz rap type of production combination. Kendrick really shines on his own on every single track. And even like I said in my album review, my least favorite track, Hood Politics, still fits in within the context of the story. This is definitely more of a complex album compared to Good Kid, Mad City, but I could just relate more to Good Kid, Mad City, and that's why I think it's better than To Pimp a Butterfly. But overall, if you've seen both my album reviews, you know I gave each album like a 10 out of 10. So I love them both for what they did individually, and that's why like Kendrick has the most solid discography out of all the rappers on this tier list. Like, and speaking of that, because his next EP is up, Untitled Master. This was released in between 2015's To Pimp a Butterfly and before 2017's Damn. This is just a short EP that was released as a result of LeBron James loving the album so much. He got to publicly hear the album before anyone else. And then Kendrick, record label Top Dog Entertainment, put it out. And it's a short EP that just sees unfinished versions of tracks that could have possibly, that were cut from To Pimp a Butterfly. And it's a great listen. Like 30 minutes for 8 songs is actually quite insane in my opinion. And it's almost crazy that even some of his throwaways are better than like I said, his worst albums better than most people's best album. You know what I mean? So for me, Untitled Unmastered, there's not any skips considering it's 8 tracks long. It's another A tier in my opinion. It's another A tier. Fight me if you think Damn is better than it, but I definitely think Untitled Unmastered, if it were a full-length project, would be alongside S tier with To Pimp a Butterfly. Who the heck is Harold? Why do I feel like that's about to lead into an adult joke? Why do I feel like Harold's about to lead into an adult joke? Let's see, what time is it? 2:16. Damn, this video wasn't supposed to be. These track lists wasn't supposed to. This track list or this tier list is almost 2 hours long. Oh my Christ. Anyway, let's get through these last 2 albums, and then I'm gonna use the restroom, and we'll move on to the next tier list. Whole Lotta Red by Playboi Carti. Started listening to it around February of 2021 because I was getting spammed and requested and memed so many times to do reactions to Whole Lotta Red and to make an album review. And to shut those people up who were joking about that, I did make an album review. I did a few reactions, didn't like those tracks I reacted to on first listen, and then I went into Whole Lotta Red, and God, those were the biggest migraines listening to that album 3 times in a row. And I didn't listen to it at all after doing my album review, which released in, I believe, April of 2020. And then I revisited it, or no, it was 2021. It was 2021 that I started listening to the album, February 2021, and then made my review to Whole Lotta Red in April of 2021. And I didn't revisit this album at all through 2021 until Christmas, because it was the 1-year anniversary of this album. And there were more songs that I liked when I reviewed it on Christmas live, but as a whole album, I hated it even more than what I did the first time. So, but it's just not my type of music. It's definitely not my type of music, and it's always gonna be. I can still remember almost pretty much everything about this album, production wise, what Carti said. I will say Carti did have a handful of nice bars throughout this entire project, but there's way too many tracks that are just too short for me to enjoy. Production's kind of repetitive. Carti just yells a lot into the mic. I don't think it's terrible, but I definitely don't love it or like it. So I think a C tier is a pretty fitting spot for a Whole Lotta Red. And like I said, because I have listened to it and reviewed it and even revisited it last year, it's always going to be a part of me. So might as well put it at a C tier as one of the albums that I would probably revisit, but just not very often. You know what I mean? So last but not least, we got Aloe Black's Good Things. Like I said, I rarely listened to Aloe Black's albums as a whole last year, and I remember not liking Good Things as much as Lift Your Spirit. So I don't know why. I think Aloe Black was kind of taking a little more funkier type of style with this one, and it just really didn't work. There was maybe 1 or 2 tracks that I liked off of this, included I don't even remember the name of the tracks. What tracks do I even have added from this album? I think this album is also only 10 songs long as well. So let me see. I Need a Dollar. I've always loved that song, and then Mama Hold My Hand, which I think is a very personal track if I'm not mistaken. But Good Things, Aloe Black, last album. is probably my least favorite out of the two Aloe Black albums I heard. Is a D tier in my opinion. So there you guys have it. My entire rank, all the albums I've heard up to 2021 ranked. Let me know which ones y'all would change, which albums y'all think I should hear, and y'all guys can also ask me just what albums like I haven't heard, because there are a couple albums that I've heard but I didn't hear enough times to feel confident enough to put on this list and rank somewhere. All these albums I've heard at least guaranteed 6 times to where I can make an opinion about, like a full, like committed opinion about them. So let me know if y'all would make any changes. Tyler, I already know what changes you would make, but let me know, anybody else, what else you would change and where would you put it. While y'all do that, I'm going to use the restroom real quick and then we'll move on to the next tier list. Alright, let me see what y'all said real quick. That's why, that's what we named the Blue Eminem fam. Keep track on. Bruh, listen. Where is it? Listen. This dude's name is not Harold. This dude's name is not Harold. I refuse for his name to be Harold. I refuse. I'm gonna leave it next stream. Next stream I do, because I want to seriously take a break from streaming after this, because this is 3 days in a row that I'm streaming. Next stream I do, I'm gonna let my chat decide what Harold's name is. I'm gonna have a whole stream just to decide what Harold's name is. That's going to be the next stream whenever I decide to do it. It'll probably be at the end of the month because I don't want to take that long of a break from streaming. But this dude's name is not Harold. I refuse for his name to be Harold. Like, now you're going to have him on top of Michael for the rest of the stream. My man is going to, the Blue M&M is going to be on top of Michael Myers for the rest of the stream. So, let's see, what else y'all say? Born Sinner moved up 1. I just really did not care for Born Sinner, so that's why that is at a D tier. It is I hate Born Sinner with a passion. I really do. That's why it is at a D tier. All the ones at a D tier are like my least favorite albums by those artists. Like, I really just cannot find myself going back to these albums unless I just want to listen strictly for just strictly listen to that artist's discography. You know what I mean? So, Or Neil Patrick Harris. No. We are not naming him after a celebrity. I cannot name Harold. I cannot name the Blue M&M after a guy who was in the Smurfs movie. Like, come on, bro. Neil Patrick Harris. Very interesting, though. The hell? Let's see. Racism by Mises is an album we should hit, in my opinion. Listen, you fill out the reaction request form and donate $20. I will check out a Racism by Mises, and I'll make either an album reaction. I'll make an album reaction to it, either track by track, or I'll make a whole album like live listening party or whatever, I guess, like reaction stream, and then I will make an album review. So, but $20 dono, fill out the reaction request form that is on the screen, Tyler. Link in the description. Link in the description. Let's see. Shoot, then I guess you don't want to see it, because I'm not checking out a Mises album on my own time. I apologize, but I'm not doing that on my own time unless somebody's like donating for it. Oh man. Alright, let's go ahead and move on to the next tier list, which I think is the tier list that, you know, Tyler is still waiting for. But that tier list isn't going to be until the end of the stream. I'm going to kind of go through these last two tier lists because this last tier list took up 2 hours. Like, and I was not saying up 2 hours last night to rank all those albums. I really did not think that tier list would take as long as it did. But here we go, man. Tier list number 6 out of this tier list stream. We got my favorite YouTubers in 2021 tier list. So, let me explain who some of these people are. And the categories for this are actually very different compared to all the other tier lists we've been doing. So, at the S tier, we got favorites. A tier, we got the ones I like. B tier, I'd say I'm an average viewer of these guys. C tier, watch every now and then. More so, you know, I'll just get bored sometimes and just randomly put them on, maybe in the background. D tier, rarely watch. Probably a channel I should unsubscribe to. And then, I feel like it's unfair sometimes to rank some of the people I'm just subscribed to just because. So I just have a tier list just for the homies. The reaction review tier list will be next. And that's on its own category compared to all these people. So, let's just go ahead and get started. We got, number 1, I press L to P. Basically, this YouTuber makes greatest moments from another channel that I watch called The Runaway Guys that are here towards the end. I know he does upload more compilations related to the Runaway Guys now than what he did like 4 or 5 years ago. But this is someone I rarely watch nowadays, and that's as a result of rarely watching the Runaway Guys too. So I'll press L to P, press L to P on rarely watch alongside, I guess, the Runaway Guys, since they go kind of hand in hand with each other. The Runaway Guys, I'll say, was the very first YouTube group of Let's Players who I really got into back in 2015 when I first discovered YouTube. I would be in this room that I'm sitting in right now at my grandmother's house, and I'd watch YouTube on her computer, watch the Runaway Guys almost every single day during that summer. And I really became fans of them, and they're kind of the reason why I'm still subscribed to them, because they're kind of the reason why I wanted to get into YouTube in the first place, because I wanted to become a gamer here on YouTube. And eventually I would switch over to just full-time reactions, not really do gaming anymore. I'm going to try to pick that up going into March, but I'll always respect and stay loyal to the Runaway Guys, just because they're kind of the reason why I became a YouTuber. you know. But as of now, I rarely watch either of these channels. You know what I mean? So, next we got Azarus, who, if y'all guys don't know, is the voice of Cleveland Brown on Family Guy now. So ever since taking that job offer, he hasn't really been active on his YouTube channel. He definitely does make some funny content and has some very incredible voice impressions, such as Cleveland Brown, because that's how he got signed to Disney. He does a great Kendrick Lamar impression, 21 Savage. Actually, no, he doesn't do an impression of him. He's been adding new impressions. He has his classic like Ted. Trying to think of other people. Recently, he's doing Mark Hamill's Joker. He's very great at doing voice impressions. Black Panther, he does a great impression of T'Challa from the MCU. Rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman. So, but in recent years, I'll watch every now and then. I'd say now, well, I'd say I'm an average viewer. I'll watch like videos they hit. I'll go back and watch some of his old videos, and then I'll catch every one of his new videos. His rap song impression videos, though, his viral rap song impression videos, absolutely some of the funniest things in the world. Not even gonna lie to you, because he puts his own Azarus twist on it with the voice impressions and mimics some of the biggest hits. Like last year, he mimicked Family Ties, Off the Grid, Sky. Like, he did really good with his impressions on some of the biggest rap hits from last year. That was one of the funniest videos I think I reacted to last year. Next, basically I do work. We have a couple members of the Vanoss crew, actually, Vanoss Gaming crew, in this tier list, and I don't watch Vanoss Gaming anymore, but I do watch some of the guys that he actually still plays with. Basically, I do work, has been doing a lot of like Call of Duty related gameplay recently. I don't really care for Call of Duty, so I don't watch it, but I do watch a lot of his older videos, like his Among Us, his Funny Moments videos, his best of 20 whatever year it is videos, and I like his content. I really do. I love how he's like. It is kind of weird he is the standout amongst the Vanoss crew, but I think that's what makes him so unique, honestly. And he's just honest. I love his sarcasm. I really do love his sarcasm. I'm gonna put him at a like, because if he was one of my favorites, I'd watch every single video that he puts out. But he doesn't put out. He does upload every 3 days, I'd say. But sometimes and he's admitted this himself, he just puts out anything as a video. You know what I mean? So, but I do really enjoy basically I do works content. Next, Betty. Betty she's a very sweet lady. I met her through the comment section on my reaction to Tupac's Dope Fiends Diner. She's actually the voice of she actually performs the vocals, the background singer on that track apparently, which is a track made after Tupac passed away. But she is a very sweet lady. I know she makes her own music in her own time. I really haven't checked out any of her content personally, but she is one of the homies, and definitely, like I said, very sweet lady. So I'm gonna put her in the homies category. Like I said, I'm not really gonna rank some of my homies like that on a real criteria like this. Now, this guy though, my friend Christian, aka GCG Gaming, or GCG Chris, stands for Group Chat Gaming Chris, basically. He has become a YouTuber in the past year or two, I'd say. And I've gamed with him, and he's the reason why I have so many friends within our group chat, which I'm currently not a part of. But he's a great guy, and I actually think his content is pretty funny. I really do respect him trying to stream as often as he can on Twitch. But I think he recently just fired his editor. Which is ironically this guy, iRabbit13, and he definitely needs to put in some more work. So when he uploads, I'll watch his videos. So I think it's only fair to put him on and watch every now and then. But other than that, y'all should check out his channel, man. He's the one who I actually linked. The Twitch link that I leave in my descriptions and on my channel homepage is actually to his Twitch. So y'all guys should definitely check him out. And I think he's going to be the reason why I start gaming on Twitch sooner than later. So we'll see what happens though. But yeah, I definitely think Christian's content is pretty funny, and I think his gaming videos are definitely at a higher quality than mine ever were. Hopefully that'll change within the future though. Next, we got Courage JD, a gaming reaction channel here on YouTube. He used to be a Twitch streamer, full-time Twitch streamer, until he made the switch to YouTube gaming. I don't know what the reason for that was, but he seems to be a lot happier here on YouTube, have a lot more creative. He's done reaction videos as of 2020, and I think he focuses I kind of don't like the fact that he focuses on uploading reaction videos more often than streaming half the time. So, but I do regularly, I'd say I'm an average viewer of Courage's. You know, he does play a variety of video games, but all of them being shooter type of games, battle royales, PvEs. Not completely the biggest fan of them outside of Fortnite. So, and he is streaming Fortnite quite often, you know, so I will give him props on that. And he is just genuinely a lovable guy. So, I'd say I'm about an average viewer of Courage's. And I did like his Among Us videos when he was playing. I think he could be a little over excited or over exaggerated at times, though. I will say that. Next, Degenerate J. He's basically he makes content related around Batman, Arkham, Suicide Squad, anything related to like superheroes. Like some of the trailers that will get released for, or were released kind of for DC fandom. He makes content related around superheroes, video games that he loves, comics that he loves, heroes that he loves, and and I know recently, I don't know what is going on with him, but I pray that he doesn't have cancer, but he is definitely always 100% honest with us. And I always will respect his honesty for that. Even if I don't agree with it, I always do respect his honest opinions on some topics that he covers. So I'd say I'm about like an average viewer of his, because if there is a topic that interests me, that he's discussing, I'll listen to it completely all the way, see what he has to say about it. And I will say he is brutally honest, you know, and I will always respect Degenerate J for that. Next, we got H2O Delirious, who basically I do work as a part of the Vanoss gaming crew. I actually rarely watch his. I watched his LP, some of his Let's Plays before. I'm glad that he started to get an editor to edit his videos. I know there's a lot of drama surrounding his name and kind of some legal issues. So I really haven't watched his channel since all that's kind of been floating around his name. But he is still a very fun member of the Vanoss crew that I enjoy seeing other people's videos. But I'd say I rarely watch H2O Delirious's videos out of my time. So for him, I think a C tier is probably a good spot. But I will say there are some times where I do appreciate the fact that his videos with group sessions related to Vanoss, basically Nogla, are a little bit longer compared to some of the other guys. You know what I mean? So, but hey, congratulations to him and his girlfriend on their second child, man. Congratulations to both of them, for real. Next, Dead Meat. I absolutely love this channel. For those of you who don't know what Dead Meat is, it is Dead Meat is hosted by a man named James A. Janice. He basically reviews horror movies and counts the bodies in every single movie and very popular series such as Halloween, Scream, Chucky, all the Friday the 13th. He's actually done a rebooted kill count. That's what they're called, kill counts, for Friday the 13th. For the whole Nightmare on Elm Street series. He does a lot of these kill counts. It takes a lot of time and effort to write the scripts and really study these movies and appreciate these horror movies for what they are, or criticize them for what they are. You know, it's a very interesting channel. He's the reason why I really got into horror movies, because I started watching his kill counts for Halloween. Then I want for Halloween. Then me and my family would binge watch the entire Halloween series. Same with Chucky. I would watch all his kill counts. Went to watch all the Chucky movies on my own time, and now I really love just both Halloween series and the Chucky series because of James A. Janice. And congratulations to him and his wife now for their recent marriage. They finally got married after their wedding has been postponed due to the pandemic, and I really am glad he is just having a great time relaxing right now. And his replacement right now is a pretty funny guy making his own kill counts, and I'm happy for James right now. I really do think he is one of the most creative content creators on YouTube. I wholeheartedly stand by that. I absolutely love his kill counts. I could watch them for days, and there's so many. Like, he would upload them like every Tuesday and Friday. That's a lot, and as much editing is required for that, that's a lot of time taken out of his day. But he's a great YouTuber. I think he deserves all the love and respect in the world for what he does, and I'm happy for him and his wife getting married finally, and for him just taking time, feeling comfortable to take time and step back from YouTube for a bit. He's stress-free, man. I'm happy for him. I'm happy for him and his crew that really put all the effort in the world to making his kill counts and the content related to dead meat. Oh, man. Hope I'm not getting sick again. Next, ET Lifestyle. Basically, this is a channel who's always informative on any news related to Eminem. He uploads every day. He takes his time making these videos, and always keeping us informed, up to date on anything related to Eminem. So I would say I don't go back and watch any of his viewers or his old videos, but I'd say I'm about an average viewer because I do watch him any new video he posts every day. But I definitely don't think he deserves to be on the levels of both Dead Meat and Basically I Do Work though. So, but he does make some pretty interesting content and informational content. So I definitely, if you were looking for Eminem related news, definitely would check out ET Lifestyle. What's up, Mind's Eye? How are you doing, man? Good to see you tune in. Next, Gabriel Iglesias, aka Fluffy. I'm subscribed to his YouTube channel where he basically uploads old clips of his stand-up comedy specials. I've watched all of them before, and nowadays he just does re-uploads of some of the clips I've seen several times. So I'll say I watch him every now and then because there's rarely a time where I'll go back and watch another clip that I've seen 10 to 20 times already. You know what I mean? But I can't wait to see his new stand-up comedy on Netflix when it comes out next year. So I'm looking forward to that for sure. Next, we have First We Feast. Basically, if you don't know what this channel is, this is the channel that does the Hot Ones, the interview where Sean Evans sits down with a celebrity and they eat wings. And it's just a very interesting idea. It really is. I really do love some of the celebrities he brings on and how he really does. Sean Evans does his research for these interviews. So, and I know there's other content related to this First We Feast channel. So I'd say I'm about an average viewer just because I only watch the Hot Ones episodes with Sean Evans and the celebrities. Very funny. If you guys actually haven't sat down and watched any of those Hot Ones episodes, I'd highly suggest it. There's probably at least one celebrity you love and hold a lot of praise for that you can find Sean Evans interviewing, sitting down, eating some really hot wings, and just absolutely learn something new about that celebrity and just have a blast watching it, in my opinion. It's very entertaining. We're on hour number 2 now. Where are we at? 2:30? Almost 3 o'clock already. Holy crap. Oh God, what is Kanye doing that's crazy once again? Dude, Kanye's on something for real right now. Dragging everyone who's associated with either Pete Davidson or Kim Kardashian in the mud right now. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. Harry Mack, I would say I don't go out of my way and just watch his freestyles or anything outside of reactions. So I think I'll put Harry Mack at rarely watch. But I do know he definitely has some very entertaining content. He's about to go on a freestyle tour here in sometime, I guess, during the summer or maybe this spring. But I really don't go out of my way and watch Harry Mack in my free time. So I will say that, but I do give him props for practicing his freestyle, sharpening his skills, and then just always putting out. He's really gotten better about uploading these last couple of years. So I will say that. Gideon, representing my home state really well. One of the funniest dudes I think on this platform right now. It's kind of crazy the whole situation that happened between him and Pokimane recently. I think they've made up since then. But he's always coming up with very original ideas and content, always sticking in with character. There's not really ever a time where Gideon doesn't make me laugh. And even watching some of his old videos, I still laugh at the same stuff, if not even more, when I go back and watch him. So for me, Gideon, love this dude. I know he lives somewhere in the Houston area. I want to meet him. I want to meet Gideon. I want to. Let's make it happen, y'all. Let's make Glitcher Bro 23 and a Gideon collab happen. We need this to happen. Like, I'm not funny, but I feel like just an hour with Gideon would be the best experience in my life. It really would be. Next, we got JKD Animator. He's the dude, for those of you who don't know, who make the animated music videos revolved around Lil Baby kind of stealing other rappers' verse or stealing a show from other rappers. He's done it for both J. Cole's Pride is the Devil, Drake's one song with Lil Baby, Kanye's Hurricane with Lil Baby and The Weeknd. It's very detailed animation and pretty funny, honestly. I'd say I'm about an average viewer for a JKD Animator. As you guys kind of see, I don't, even on YouTube, I just kind of watch the same content on YouTube. That's why there's not really that many channels up here. And like I said, I left the reaction and review channels for another tier list, which we're about to get into. But I'm saying I'm just pretty much an average viewer of most of these YouTubers. You know what I mean? So, but I absolutely love JKD Animator's like art style, kind of what he does, and he's pretty frequent uploader too. You know what I mean? And I know he makes probably zero money from his animations, considering their animations over music, like other artists' music. So I do give him respect for that though. So Josh Wolf, I'd say I was watching a lot at the beginning of 2020 or 2021. I can't really remember. Since then, he's kind of been uploading like some type of reactions revolved around him and his son reacting to his old stand-up specials. Pretty funny dude, has some interesting stories, but I'd say I haven't really watched in most recently, so I'll put Josh Wolf at a watch every now and then. Next, Lil Windex. This is the dude who went viral for doing impressions of Eminem around 2020, I'd say. I haven't really watched him since he's kind of laid back on those impressions, and I never even really watched his content in the first place either. I was kind of watching No Life Shaq react to his content, so I'm putting Lil Windex at a rarely watch ranking. Next, LD. This is the homie that's been helping me out with Streamlabs, with trying to possibly get in Twitch like setup and possibly ready for me to stream there. He doesn't really upload too much on YouTube, so I think it's only fair to put him on the homies ranking. Next, more Courage AD. I'd say Courage, for some reason, at one point or another was really focusing on the second channel more than his real channel. He kind of just puts either backup reactions or like the same type of content that he puts on his main channel. But for a little bit, he was grinding on this More Courage JD channel. So I'll say when he uploads, I'll watch him every now and then, because I don't even watch all the videos that he puts on this channel as well. Next, Nogla. Nogla is one of the most impressive, like, come-up channels, I think, out of all these guys on here. He went from making unedited videos back in 2014, 2015, like, completely unedited. The only editing there was cuts from original recording sessions with the Vanos crew or his friends. Like, there was no type of editing from Nogla for the longest time. And then in 2019, 2018, he started editing it. He started hiring editors. And since then, his content is probably some of the most entertaining quality there is. I absolutely love Nogla's videos. I think it's absolutely funny. He's considered the quote-unquote retard of the group, and he just kind of fits in with that character. And I'm really happy for him and his wife or fiance and their child. Like, Nogla at times just feels very relatable. Like, such a relatable content creator. For that, I'm going to put him at the favorites. I seriously do absolutely love Nogla. I love how he's diverse in his content, and he's just never afraid of playing any type of game either. Like, Nogla is one of the most open-minded guys a part of the Vanos group. And I absolutely love that about him, and I always appreciate about that. And I really wish when he had the YouTube's figure or the plushie, I really wish I would have got it. I really wish I did, because it looks dope. I will say that his character and his player model is also one of the funniest things in the world, and he's always funny. If Nogla was always a funny person in everyone else's videos, and he's just as funny within his own videos. So, absolutely love Nogla. Next, we got Big Puffer. Big Puffer's another one that I started watching, I'd say 2020, 2021, and I've seriously, like, enjoyed this dude's content. He's probably one of the simpler gaming YouTubers I watch, but I just love his reaction videos. I love his gaming videos. I think his group of friends is very different compared to Vanos' group of friends, and I love when them two were I love how Puffer and Nogla are kind of playing with each other alongside basically I do work. And I think Big Puffer is honestly like a funny dude too. So for me, Big Puffer is alongside Nogla in my opinion. Like, both gaming wise, I love his reaction videos, and I just kind of like his sarcasm too. He has the exact same like attitude, kind of like Marcel does, aka basically I do work. But I think with him being on Twitch, he does get a lot more funnier moments, and he does have a pretty like funny community in my opinion. Lil Windix Fire though. I don't know. I haven't heard anything of Lil Windex's music, to be honest. So, next, we got the homie iRabbit. Like I said, I don't think he actually has any content on YouTube. I know he does stream on Twitch, but he is another homie. He was Christian's editor for a little bit, so that's why he wasn't really, I guess, uploading. But I'll put him in the homie category, because, come on, like, he really is the homie. Now, we got Terrorizer, the Irish lad, one of the Irishmen alongside Nogla, part of the Vanos group. I've really come to enjoy Brian's GIF unwrapping videos, some of his gaming videos. I like his style of editing. I think it's funny how he no longer I do appreciate the fact how he will no longer take any bullshit from anyone in his friend group. I do think his sarcasm is pretty funny as well. All of the Vanos crew members' sarcasm is absolutely funny in my opinion. Delirious never has really had any type of sarcasm, so I could just kind of relate to that type of sarcasm, and he makes some pretty funny content on his own. You know what I mean? And I think it's kind of funny how he memes about like how he ain't nothing without Vanos, but he's made a name for himself, especially since the pandemic, I'd say. So for me, Terrorizer, I like watching his content. I really do like watching his content. Next, we got Tell It Animated. Yeah, Tell It Animated. Another animator channel here on YouTube. He animates evolutions of superheroes, supervillains, characters that are known and loved by the world in general. He recently just put out a video for the evolution of Green Goblin. He's getting more in-depth with his more recent videos, but I know he definitely takes his time to not only like analyze the characters, but to kind of know where they come from nowadays. And like I said, he's actually doing both cartoon animated and like real life adaptation versions animated nowadays. So like his Green Goblin one, he went all the way back to like a 1940s cartoon to William Dafoe's appearance in No Way Home. So I would say I watch him every now and then. I would be an average viewer. Actually, no, I'll put average viewer because I do watch all his videos. And like I said, it takes a while to make those type of animated videos, and it takes a lot of money too. So I have a lot of respect for both JK, the animator, and Tell It Animated as content creators. Oh man, I'm sweating my ass off in here. Matter of fact, let me turn off my fan. Or turn up my fan. That should help. That should definitely help. My shirt is like drenched right now. Like it should not be drenched the way it is. Next, TJV. TJV is a commentary channel that was kind of discussing any issues related to the Vanos crew, Mini Lad, Ohm Record, kind of the beefs that were happening behind the scenes we weren't really fully aware of. Since the beef and all that has been kind of getting legal and personal with some ex-members of the Vanos crew and some members with the Vanos crew, TJV hasn't really covered anything as controversial as he was, I'd say, in 2020. But I still subscribe to him. I still watch some of his reviews of either movies or like some of his highlights from his previous live streams. So I'll say I watch TJV every now and then. Not really. I don't rarely watch him. If he uploads some kind of new type of commentary video, I'll watch it, especially if it's related around some type of drama revolved around the Vanos crew or ex-members. You know what I mean? So I think I do appreciate the research that he does put in when it comes to those commentary videos, and he tries not to be biased as much as possible. So, next, we got Uncaged Games, a gaming and kind of a commentary channel as well. He revolves his content around anything, I guess, comic book related, superhero related, Mortal Kombat related. Huge Mortal Kombat fan. That's why he got his name, Uncaged Games. I really do. I'd say I watch him. Like, there's not very rare videos that I don't watch from Uncaged Games. I think he's a very expressive guy, and he really does like put his heart into his opinions and what he wants to see from certain titles revolved around DC, Marvel, video games, Mortal Kombat in general. So I think I'd say I'm an average viewer of Uncaged Games. He does make some pretty high quality videos, and I'm honestly kind of shocked. I'm honestly a little jealous of kind of the stuff he gets sent sometimes by NetherRealm Studios because of how huge of a fan he really is of Mortal Kombat. Next, Watch Mojo. I don't even know, honestly, why I'm still subscribed to them. I really don't. Like, I used to watch their top 10 lists, like, 2018, 2019. But then I started to realize that they are so biased with their list. Like, they're the way they rank stuff, it doesn't even matter what it is all opinions. It's not factual at all. Like, it's kind of crazy. And some of their and sometimes they even mispronounce like names or titles wrong, and some of their information is just completely incorrect. Like, in general, like, I feel like the people that watch Mojo don't do any research whatsoever when it comes to them making videos. And they do upload quite often. I'll give them that, but even their format of videos hasn't changed since like 5 years since I've been subscribed to them or so. So, I don't know. I probably need to unsubscribe to them, to be honest. Next, we got I Am Wildcat, another member of the Vanos crew. One of the few Vanos crew members I was subscribed to for the longest time. He does a lot of Call of Duty gameplay. Recently, he's getting back into Fortnite, which I kind of like. I did literally watch every single one of his Fortnite videos, his Gmod videos, Among Us. I think he's a pretty funny guy. He's another one that really has a, I don't give a fuck attitude on YouTube, and I think it really shows. And he's genuinely funny. He is genuinely one of the funniest members of the Vanos crew. But as of right now, he's kind of doing what Marcel's doing, really sticking with Call of Duty, so I haven't watched him in recent years. So I'll say I'll put him in the light category compared to No Glow or even Puffer, who I was literally watching Big Puffer this morning. So, Wild and Out. I definitely I've come to love this show, Wild and Out. I still want to watch all the series on Paramount Plus. It is quite unfortunate, the whole situation that happened between Nick Cannon and, I guess, MTV. I don't know what necessarily happened, but basically the show got canceled on MTV, and now it exclusively streams on Paramount Plus. And it kind of sucks that their new seasons have a lower budget, so I guess some of the games they played were copyrighted, so they can't play their old games and have their old, act the same way like they used to on their older seasons or past seasons. I definitely do enjoy watching Wild and Out clips whenever there's a new video. Sometimes the editing is a little, unfinished or not properly done right. But for the most part, I really do like Wild and Out's content. I kind of think it does get a little repetitive sometimes, the clips that they upload or compilations they use. But overall, I really enjoy the show. I love all the comedians. There's not a single time where I'm just bored when I have a Wild and Out video playing. Next, we got Batman Arkham videos. This is a informational channel related to anything that has to do with Warner Brothers, Batman Arkham series, the Suicide Squad game, Gotham Knights. They haven't been recent. They haven't been very active since since Arkham series has kind of ended back in 2015, 2017, whenever Arkham Knight released. But they were very informational. They did make a lot of videos revolving around Easter eggs, very informational, and kept up with any news or leaks that could be revolving around the Arkham games. So I'd say Batman Arkham videos, I watch every now and then, especially if it's revolved around the Batman Arkham series and possibly a new game coming out by Rocksteady or anything like that. But other than that, man, those are all the YouTubers I've watched in 2021 ranked. Let me know what y'all think about them. Let me know if there's any channels that I should check out going into this year. And other than that, let me know if you've seen any of these guys. Where else would you rank them? How would you rank them? Do you watch some of these guys more than me? Do you watch some of them less than me? Have you never heard of these guys before? Let me know your thoughts and opinions. Other than that, I'm going to go use the restroom again. And then we'll get on to the final tier list. Alright, sorry about that, y'all. Our grandmother just showed up. Oh no, like, surprisingly, me and my sister's grandmother just showed up, and she brought us Valentine's gifts, so I guess it is more of a tradition in our family than what I guess I realized. Let me type this in real quick. Go ahead and save that. So I see that some of y'all kind of left, and Ross Creations is pretty funny sometimes. I think I've heard of that channel. I don't think I've ever like actually watched them in my own time. But we're finna get into the final tier list, but I thought I'd just give a shout out to my grandmother real quick for coming through with another Valentine's Day gift. She's always giving us stuff. Always, every time she visits, she's always giving something to me, my family. So for Valentine's, she gave me this little ornament, little cute ornament. I don't know what I'm gonna do with this or not. 2 bags of peanut M&Ms, which is kind of ironic considering that we were talking about him earlier. We were talking about that M&M earlier, so these will definitely fill him up. And then $25 within this card right here. Yeah, she's always giving me and my sister and the family money. So that's $25 more I have in the bank account then. So shout out to my grandma Vila. As always, man, she actually came through. Like, if y'all didn't see the Christmas, my last video of 2021, if y'all didn't see the Christmas presents section of it, she came through with some serious gifts for me last year. So, always sweet of her to do these type of things. It's very unnecessary, but she tries to make up for, I guess, as little time as she kind of spent with me and my sister as a child, and kind of make up for, you know, not being in that spot, like grandmother's spot, when after my other grandma passed away. You know what I mean? So my dad always said, if there's no money in the card, when you open it, move on to the next. That's okay. That's pretty funny, to be honest. Appreciate you stopping by again, Herman. I don't know how long you've been here, or appreciate you at least sticking by. I know I was gone for a little bit. I did want to say hi to her for a little bit, but I did realize I have to get back to this final tier list, which we're getting into right now. The final tier list. We got my favorite reaction review channels of 2021 right here. First of all, I think we should start off with the channels that we just recently had on the previous list, which was my favorite YouTubers of last year. So we're going to go ahead and rank them on the reaction tier list as well. So, first we got Dead Meat. Like I said in the previous tier list, James A. Janice reviews horror movies and counts the bodies within every single movie and makes videos titled Kill Counts. And he's been doing that since 2017. I think I started watching him 2019. Very informational. He's gotten very serious and made more high quality kill counts before he left to get married this year, and is kind of taking a break. He said he's going to be taking a break from YouTube until summer, I think, of this year. So I absolutely love watching his content, and like on the last tier list, I think he's going to be a favorite of mine when it comes to reviewing movies, horror movies specifically. So, Tyler's time to shine? Yes, sir. We'll get to Alpha Tyler here in a little bit. Next, we got Big Puffer. Like I said, gamer, reaction channel. He doesn't really... I like the fact that Puffer doesn't really diverge or solely focus on making reaction videos, but his reaction videos are pretty funny. He doesn't really react to anything outside of memes, which I kind of don't like, You know, I think he has some funny reactions to the memes, but I wish he would have reacted to something else. So I'm a fan of Puffer's reactions, but I'll say that I'm a fan of Puffer's reaction videos because I put him on one of my favorites for the YouTubers list. But when it comes to reactions strictly, I'd say I'm just a fan when it comes to Big Puffer's reactions. Next, Courage JD. Like I said, I really don't like the fact that he's kind of like, since switching over to YouTube gaming, I don't like how he's kind of focused so much on reactions, because he only reacts to either Gordon Ramsay videos or Twitch highlights, moments, funny moments. Like, that's the only thing he reacts to. So it gets a little boring because you see some of the same clips and then him act like he's never seen some, like that's the first time he's ever watched some of those clips before. So I'd say him and more Courage JD are still worth checking out. You know what I mean? And for some reason now he rushes the intros when he does reaction videos. So I still think he's funny, but he definitely needs to react to something other than either TikTok memes, Twitch highlights, funny moments, fails, and then Gordon Ramsay. That's what I'll say for that. And I just put more Courage there because it's basically the same. It's literally the exact same content. So, next, Alpha Tyler, and he's not even here. Alpha Tyler has left the chat. So, where do I rank him on the reaction review tier list? Well, I've checked out a couple of Tyler's videos before. He has definitely come a very long way, and he is very dedicated to reacting to independent artists. And that's my problem. He kind of only reacts to independent artists. I respect it, but because they are independent, I really don't know who they are. He did introduce me to Mises, probably in a very more brutal and serious way than I expected. But he's the homie, man. And I'll check out one of his videos every now and then. So I think Tyler, I'm going to put it as an average viewer. I say I'm a pretty average viewer of Alpha Tyler. Next, we got CDTV Productions. This English guy makes reaction reviews or top 10s of anything basically revolving around hip-hop. I think he's very funny. He has some... I love his sarcasm, his energy as well. He's really gotten better about uploading in the past few years compared to some of his early work. Even some of his early videos are still worth checking out, even though they're kind of a lower quality. But CDTV, I actually really do enjoy. I'd say I'm a fan of him, and if he maybe did either reactions, reviews, top 10s, discussions more often, I think he'd be one of my favorites. But I'm most definitely a fan of CDTV's videos. Next, we got CDTV's second channel, CDTV the G. Basically, this channel, he does reviews albums. I don't think he's really done too many album reviews since starting the second channel up. I think either 2020 or 2021. I did enjoy his review to Donda 2 though. Donda, I will say that. And I haven't watched too much of his CDTV the G's content, but he's still definitely worth checking out. He's still definitely worth checking out. I don't know why he hasn't uploaded as of recently, especially with some of the releases that we've had this year. Earl Sweatshirt, The Weeknd. It's very weird not seeing CDTV the G react to some of the bigger albums by some of the big rappers or just names this year already. Next, we got Crypt TV. Crypt makes his own music here on YouTube. He does his own reaction videos. Recently, he just actually fully paid off his house at the age of like 27, I think he said. And that was a very heartfelt video. And I remember he also, when those hurricanes hit Kentucky or wherever it was, whatever state that chain of hurricanes recently hit in fall, I remember Crib made a GoFundMe to donate to some of the victims and organizations that are helping to rebuild that state and kind of the tragedy that's happened over there. So he's a really good guy. I really like his reaction videos. He really does dissect and break down anyone he reacts to, even though he is very minimal on who he reacts to. Eminem, Joyner Lucas, Dax, NF. Like, he doesn't he only kind of reacts to lyrical guys, which I'm not like too crazy about. I wish he would diverge a little bit of what he reacts to, but I understand he does make music in his own time, and he's doing YouTube for fun. So I do respect that. I say I'm a fan of Crypt. I definitely say I'm a fan. I would put him on the favorites if I solely listen to everybody he reacted to. You know what I mean? But I don't. And I do respect the fact that he is checking out independent artists once again, though. So I will respect him for that. Next, we got Fantano, which, if I'm not mistaken, this is the second channel for the Needle Drop. On this Fantano channel, Anthony, personally, one of the funniest, serious, and just most intelligent guys when it comes to reaction reviews of albums or music in general. I think Fantano, on the Fantano channel, he does a little more like discussions. He does those videos where he talks about he does the opinion videos where he goes on to Twitter and asks for a random topic, or he just random discussions on there. I think he's a lot more diverse on the Fantano channel compared to the Needle Drop. So I'd say I'm about an average viewer of Fantano on his own. You know what I mean? I definitely think, which I guess I might as well rate the Needle Drop where I'm at it. The Needle Drop does album review. There's like a new album review every 2 to 3 days by Anthony Fantano, where he criticizes, appreciates, and intelligently digests an album from any artist of any genre. He is seriously on top of the game with this. Like, I'm a huge fan of Anthony Fantano, and even some of the albums that he ranks low that I personally enjoyed, I can still respect, because he does prove some points about him, and he, like I said, he has a huge vocabulary. I never see him make any mistakes anymore. He's a professional at this. He's probably one of my favorites when it comes to reviewing albums. Like, there's no one beating Anthony Fantano when it comes to album reviews. Next, we got Highly Combustible Reacts and his second channel, HXC Reacts. First of all, he needs to improve on the second channel. I'm going to tell you why. He only uploaded on this second channel when he was, for some reason, like, banned a month on YouTube. And then he took those videos and uploaded them to his main channel so they could get the love and recognition. I understand that. But, like, it's not always bad to have a second channel. You know what I mean? I wish he didn't kind of delete those videos from the second channel. Instead, he just would have kept those there on the second channel, and then maybe just say, hey, all your requests are over here. You know what I mean? But I will say, Highly Combustible, talking about the main channel now, he's definitely a grinder when it comes to, he grinds out new reactions. There's at least 10 reactions by this dude every single day. He is seriously on the hustle when it comes to grinding out new videos, and he has such a very supportive community that backs him up. He's a very great guy too. He really is. And honestly, the only thing I'd say I don't like that Highly does is he just kind of lets the video play through, and which is what I understand. That's kind of what all these other guys do who I know through Alpha Tyler. They kind of let the video play through. They just react differently than me. You know what I mean? But I will say Highly is very, he's about that grind. He's about that hustle, and I do appreciate that 100%. I say I'm a fan. I say I'm a fan of Highly Combustible's reactions. You know what I mean? And there's something for everyone, I think. And he doesn't just react to just mainstream stuff. If he were to react to mainstream, like, music in general, because he kind of reacts to covers, just interesting, funny videos. If he were to react to mainstream music, he would easily be at a 1 mil right now. I guarantee. But he's been growing every single month, man. So, shout out to Highly Combustible. Now, in the clutch, representing Houston once again, man. These three reactors, upload quite often too. They upload about 3 to 4 videos a day, whether it be funny compilation, music videos, trailers. They're kind of very diverged with the content they react to and upload. And I just recently started reacting to or watching their reactions. I'd say last year, like literally last year, and they're fun. They're a fun trio of people to react to, and I'd say because it was more towards the end of the year that I started watching them, I'd say I'm about an average viewer of In the Clutch. But they represented Houston well, man. Shout out to some real Houston soldiers. Now, Jason JV. Here's what I'll say. Jason JV is a great guy. He really is. He's a rapper of his own here on YouTube. But the few Jason JV reactions I've seen, like I don't want to offend him. I don't want to offend him at all, because I'm friends with this dude. I'm cool with this dude. Jason JV is another one of those guys who's kind of very selective with what they react to. Like, he does a lot of Upchurch reactions. He's recently done like a reaction to Upchurch every single day since his new album's come out. You know, and staying on top of Upchurch news, which is cool. But that makes you just look like an Upchurch reaction channel. You know what I mean? So, and also I've seen a few of I haven't watched too many, but the few reactions I've seen of Jason JV's, he's just very, like, I guess not so energetic, in my opinion. Jason JV really isn't that energetic, and I just couldn't imagine myself, you know, not being as calm as I do calm as he is during a reaction video. You know what I mean? So he definitely has a cool setup and background. I'll give him props for that. But I hate to do this, Jason. I think you need to improve a little bit, man. I love you. I love you. This is nothing but what is it called? What is it called? This is just my opinion. This is just me. What is the term called? Crucial criticism or something like that? What is the term called? Somebody help me out. What is the term called? Anyway, this is just my opinions. This is my opinions. I think Jason JV needs to improve a little bit as a reactor. That's just me. That's just personally me. No shots fired, and I don't want to start any kind of beef. Jiminator has been recently trying to start up a reaction channel himself, and he definitely needs to improve. He definitely does, man. He's kind of like constructive criticism. Thank you. He's been trying to start a reaction channel himself. I know he reacted to the Moon Knight trailer. His reaction to the Moon Knight trailer actually did some pretty good numbers. But I definitely think he needs to, if he wants to take this reaction channel serious, like reaction stuff serious, he definitely needs to upload and react to more stuff more often than what he does already. You know what I mean? And that's just me. I love Jiminator. He's kind of the joke. He's kind of the little joke of the Alpha Tyler community, and that's coming from me, the youngest guy, a part of that community, I'd say. But yeah, Jiminator definitely needs to improve on it, whether or not he wants to take this reaction channel stuff seriously. Next, LC4, another member of the Alpha Tyler community. I've been subscribed to him. He hasn't done too many reactions himself, but he is very energetic, very intelligent. So, but he definitely, there is still a lot of improvement for him. I think the few reactions I've seen of him, he's either been in like a very dark room or like in his car for some reason. I think he is having some personal stuff happening behind the scenes, and that's kind of why he's been away from YouTube for a little bit. But there's always room for improvement for LC4. I don't want anyone to think that I'm just being like very constructive or very critical on these guys, because I know I still need improvement myself. This is just personally from my experience watching these guys. All these guys from the Alpha Tyler community, Hiley, Tyler, these three, my man Simple, Texan, they're all still very much worth checking out. But this is just from where I stand and from what I saw since meeting these guys in like 2021 or 2020, I don't even remember what year. I think it's 2021 when I met some of these guys. And I have checked out some of the reactions, you know what I mean? But this is just my opinion. It's just constructive criticism. I don't want to start a beef with anyone amongst the Alpha Tyler community. Next, we got Razzle, who I discovered in the last quarter of 2021. A bunch of random dudes getting drunk, watching movies, reacting to movies like that they've seen or watched, and they're just funny. Like, some of the stuff and some of the ideas, memes, and jokes that they have throughout their commentaries are just absolutely, like, funny to me. And because, like I said, I was introduced to them in the later half of 2021, I think I'm only going to put them as a fan. I think they're one of my favorites now, but this is based off of 2021. So Razzle, for me, in 2021, when I was just being first introduced to them, I was a fan of them because they're just honestly a funny group of guys who get drunk and just watch movies, make tons of jokes, and just are just stupid. You know what I mean? So, next, No Life Shaq. It wouldn't even be right if I didn't put No Life Shaq at the top tier list. He is the reason. He is seriously the reason why reactors like me, reactors like all these guys on this list, have become so popular and are able to have a platform to make the kind of content he does. Like, reaction channels were never a thing until No Life Shaq started reacting to Eminem's Kamikaze in 2018, blew up, and everybody started doing reaction videos alongside Shaq. You know what I mean? No Life Shaq is the reason why I became a reactor myself, and I'm 90% sure highly Alpha Tyler, Jason JV, maybe LC4, maybe Geminator, Simple, and maybe Texan became reaction channels. You know what I mean? He is the reason. His energy, his honesty, his grind is the reason why a reaction channel, a reactor starts making reaction videos. I love No Life Shaq, and I'll always hold No Life Shaq up in high praises for what he's done for the reaction community here on YouTube. I actually don't know who DJ Ghost is, Herman. I do apologize for that. Next, we got Sean C., a commentator, a reaction review channel here on YouTube. It's honestly kind of surprising to me, as long as I've been a fan of Sean C., that he hasn't hit 1 mil yet. I can understand why, because sometimes his takes on either music or situations revolved around hip-hop are kind of a little bogus. But Sean C. is definitely another very funny, sarcastic reaction review channel and commentator here on YouTube. He right now he's covering a lot of stuff revolved around Kanye because of the whole situation happening with Kanye. But he definitely, I enjoy watching his reactions, reviews to albums, and I actually do enjoy his discussion like type of videos, kind of like what Fantano does on his Fantano channel. So I'd say I'm about an average viewer of Sean C, and I'm really wanting him to hit 1 mil soon. I really want to see Sean C hit 1 mil because he was the first guy who introduced me to the reaction review channel, because I saw his reaction to Eminem's Revival sometime in 2018. So yeah, there's that. He's honestly one of the first guys I watched as a reaction/review channel, and one of the reasons, and when I was debating on whether I wanted to do this myself, one of the reasons why I decided to make reaction/review type music videos. You know what I mean? Reaction/reviews to music videos, music in general. Next, we got Simba TV. We were introduced to him, I believe, in 2020 or 2021 during the whole Upchurch versus Screw situation. There was a certain reaction that he did to an Upchurch song that is no longer available. Since then, I've been subscribed to his channel. I've checked out some of his reactions to like Family Guy funny moments, other like Upchurch reactions, some Eminem reactions. He has a lot of energy too. He's a very young cat. He makes music of his own, and he uploads about 2 to 3 videos every few days or so. So he's definitely about that grind too. I definitely think he deserves more subs than what he does. So I'm gonna put Simba TV as still worth checking out. Next, we got Simple Reacts. Recently, Simple has been going live every single day here on YouTube, grinding gaming live streams, whether it be Star Wars, whether it be just some type of game that he loves, enjoy playing right now. But I've checked a few of Simple's reactions out so far. He has his own little thing going. I wish he would have kind of stuck with the kind of killer vibe or psychotic vibe that he had back in his early days of like 2021 or mid 2021. But he's not bad. He's actually not a bad channel to worth checking out either. He's a great guy, very honest guy, and he's very just straightforward with this audience, which is something I do respect. So for Simple, I'm gonna put him on the still worth checking out. Great guy. I know he has some personal demons that he deals with outside of reactions. So, but he's someone who really gave me a chance when I was getting introduced to Alpha Tyler and his community. So I love Simple, and I hope he is doing well right now. So next, we got Texans Reacts, which I honestly haven't seen too much of his videos. I don't know who he even reacts to. I don't even know how his kind of format is. First of all, this is the thing. Highly Simple, Jason, and Texan all kind of have the same formats when it comes to how they have their reactions set up. You know what I mean? So I think that's just a little lazy in my opinion. That's just personally me. It's nothing against them. It's just a little copy and paste between all of them. It's just literally a green screen, them sitting in front of the camera, and then the video on screen. Like on the side of them, not even full screen, it's just on the side of them with like their own little edits above and below, you know, the screen. You know, and I haven't checked out too much out from Texan. I don't think he's been reacting as of recently. But I think Texan still actually works an own job of his own job, so he's kind of caught up with that. So I'm gonna put Texan as a need to improve though. And like I said, out of all these guys, he's probably the one I've watched the least. No offense to him, but I don't even know what he honestly reacts to. So there's that. And then myself. I feel like it was only fair to put myself on the reaction review criteria tier list right here. Where do I rate myself? I don't really watch my own videos, and this is kind of a bad thing because I've started to notice that there are like some issues within my videos, and that's mainly due just to the PC being kind of absolute trash. I try to upload every single day. This month I've let's talk about me in 2021. I was really on my grind during 2021. I'd say I think I took a break in October if I'm not mistaken. But I was seriously trying to get videos out every single day for you guys. And especially after hitting 1K, I was just on my grind during 2021 when it came to new videos. So, but I say last year, where would I put myself? I'd say I was still worth checking out. Last year. And because of the Alpha Tyler community, I think I've grown a lot as a reactor. And I would not hit 1K without those guys. So I have nothing but love and respect for the Alpha Tyler community. I hope I didn't make anyone mad with this tier list. But this is how I rank all the reaction/review channels that I watched during 2021. Let me know if there's anyone missing. Let me know if I should probably have changed these guys. If you've ever heard of these guys, where would you put them? Let me know your thoughts and opinions about this tier list, man. Personally, for the longest time, I didn't know if I wanted to put myself on here. But I was like, nah, I probably should. It would only make sense, considering I'm the one who made these tier lists, who been talking about these reactors, giving them constructive criticism. You know what I mean? So I felt like it was only fair. And by all means, I do not think I'm better than any of these people. I do not think I'm better than any of these people. Without any of these reactors / review channels, I wouldn't even be here. I wouldn't be able to, be a reactor myself. So there's that. I have nothing but love and respect even for all of these guys. Whether or not I like their style of reacting, or whether I've watched all their videos, or I've only watched like a handful of videos. So, what is that? Is that Simple? What up, Simple? What up? What up, man? I just finished ranking all the reaction / review channels that I started watching last year, and I've watched over the past few years. So, hope you're not offended by you being on the still worth checking out tier list. Hope you're not. Hope you're not, man. I got nothing but love and respect for all you guys in the Alpha Tyler community. But other than that, that was the final tier list of this 2021 ranking tier list live stream. This was not planned to be a 2-part live stream, but I only got through the first 4 tier list criterias. You've been lurking. You menace Simple. Nah, man, but this was the final tier list out of the 7 that I had planned for this live stream. Like I said yesterday, I just ended up getting really tired and got a huge headache when I was about to do the albums live stream or the albums criteria. I'm really glad I decided to wait and do that properly today, along with the YouTubers I watched in 2021 and the reaction / review channels I watched in 2021. So, other than that, man, that's all the tier list. That's all the tier list that I did this weekend. This is the 3rd time I've streamed within these past 3 days. Let me know what y'all guys thought. Let me know if you guys like this idea of me ranking these different criterias, what maybe I should rank next in a future live stream. But other than that, man, that was it for this, man. That was it for this live stream. I'm finna end it off. As soon as I finish typing this up. And that's it. Ladies and gentlemen, we have finally finished ranking the, let's just make it sure. Let me just make sure I get this right. The movies I watched, TV shows I watched, artists I reacted to, artists that I listened to, albums I've heard, YouTubers I've watched, and reaction / review channels I watched in 2021. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this 2-part stream, man. I really do appreciate all the love and support y'all showed these last 2 days, or even Friday if you were there for that stream. Do me a solid, man. If you guys want to see more tier list ranking videos like this in the future, because it look as well as this turned out, this seems like something that I can start doing yearly. So, and I know it was a little bit late on this one, but I didn't want to do this stream alongside my Whole Lot of Red revisit stream that I did on Christmas. And we did end up having company over for New Year, so I didn't want to do it then either. Other than that, let me know what you guys thought about this stream, this idea of a stream. You want to see me do these ranking / tier list videos more often. Other than that, man, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for new, comment what you want to see next, share your thoughts and opinions about my rankings, tier lists, in the comment section down below. Share with more people if you enjoyed. As always, man, if you guys want to join the Butcher Gang Discord, links in the description, along with the reaction request form. Follow me on my social medias up there. Other than that, man, thank y'all for tuning in this weekend, I guess, for all these live streams. Yeah, do it again next year. I think so, Herman. I think I'm with you 100%. Thank you guys for watching.